Hey everybody, Rosemary here, and welcome to part 15 of my Danganronpa, another Let's Play. Sorry for the last episode being kind of short. We basically just focused on the investigation of Haru's murder, and got some interesting information. So now it's time for the class trial, and I promise it's going to be a longer episode, much longer episode. Maybe I'll even see if I can, do the whole class trial in this episode, depending on how long it is. So, enough out of me. I'm sure you guys are excited to get into this class trial, so let's do it. Alright, so, I gave my thoughts last week at the end, but I'm gonna say it again. My two suspects are Taruya and Satsuki. Taruya being the most obvious, and Satsuki being kind of like a wild card, because I feel like she's the only person that Haru would trust to be able to lure him into the oh my gosh, the armory to kill him. And then Taruya, because they've been butting heads, he has knowledge of guns, he knew about guns, and also he's just been acting really strange, especially with that gun that was, over by the entrance when Taruya said not to touch it. Speaking of which, we're gonna go through the truth bullets here, so I can get myself reacquainted with the clues. Now we got the Monokuma file. The victim is Haruhiko Kobushikawa. The estimated time of death was around 6 a.m. The body was found in the arsenal. The cause of death is excessive bleeding due to a gunshot wound on the right chest. In addition, the index finger and middle finger of his right hand were ruptured and broken. Gunshot chest wound. Gunshot wound on the body's chest. It's also written in the Monokuma file, but appears to be the direct cause of death. Unlike so far, it's the first murder that has occurred with a weapon for murder called a gun. So I can only get a sense of how to deal with these things. Furthermore, there are so many weapons in the arsenal, and all of them are scattered. It won't be easy to find out which one did it. Except we have the one that was broken. That seemed like that would be the one. Ruptured right hand. The corpse's right hand was in a terrifying, miserable state. The flesh was tattered and a little discolored, while the index and middle fingers were completely cut off and went missing. What method was used to destroy the hand in such a horrifying way? And was there any reason to destroy somebody's hands like this? Scattered guns. The guns on display in the arsenal were randomly scattered, so it was impossible to find out the direct murder weapon that hit Haruhiko. It is possible the culprit deliberately destroyed the gun. Unnatural bloodstains. The bloodstain that Haruhiko shed was a little strange. As if he was wandering through the arsenal, blood was smeared everywhere like a path. Was the killer dragging his corpse around? Anyways, there must be a reason for the blood to be left in this state. Severed fingers. It's Haruhiko's severed fingers. However, seeing that the location of his fingers are quite far from his body, I should also consider the possibility that Haruhiko was moved from his original position when he was killed. Destroyed gun. This gun was completely destroyed. The gun was also smeared with blood. Shattered and fragmented. I'm guessing that, Haruhiko might have had it on his hand. The gun was in his hand, and it blew up, which also blew up his fingers. Especially because there's so much blood around it, right? One interesting thing is it was a loaded gun. How was it destroyed like this? I should also consider the possibility that this was the murder weapon that killed Haruhiko. It cannot be ruled out, given the bullets in it. Flash and smoke grenade. These were located near the entrance of the arsenal. I recall the fact when we opened the door to the arsenal at first, it seemed that the criminal manipulated 2 grenades to detonate when the door was open. If that's the case, what is the reason? There's a possibility the culprit in the arsenal escaped as they crossed us through a flashbang and smoke. That sounds like something a clown might do, maybe. I don't know. Wood plank. It's the whole thing about, smoke and then just appearing. I don't know. Why do I have I don't want it to be her. She's coming around on me, and I thought that her relationship and her friendship with Haru was very sweet, so the idea that she may have betrayed him, kind of hurts my heart a bit. I'm hoping it's Taruya, because I'm not really a big fan of him. Wood plank. This wood plank is broken. It was stuck in the doorknob of the arsenal. When I opened the door with Taruya, we heard a sound of something crack from the inside while pushing, which seems was the origin of the sound. The purpose was to make the door hard to open, and at the same time, put the flash and smoke grenades on top of it, so when we open the door, they'd fall, right? Corner gun. A pistol that doesn't look much different from the pistol which was destroyed. One strange thing is that it was alone in the corner, as if somebody hid it. Does it mean something, or is it just the killer disposed of it while messing with the gun? Taruya's behavior. Touching a gun alone in the corner of the arsenal, Taruya showed a strange disapproval. He kept telling me to keep my hands off the gun because it could trigger on its own. What on earth was he talking about? When I questioned him, he panicked and left the arsenal. Does Taruya know something? Letter in the room. After borrowing a key from Haruhiko's body and checking the room, we found an unknown letter on the floor. The contents of the letter as follows. To Haruhiko. Then again, I feel like if it was Satsuki, she would say Kobazing. And it wouldn't be quite so formal. To Haruhiko, I have something to tell you. If you read this, why don't you come to the arsenal? I'm not trying to kill you. I hope you believe me. I'll wait. Mikako's testimony. The room that Mikako used was the room right next to the arsenal. According to her, she heard a few people entering the arsenal during the dawn hours. She didn't say any details, but Mikako might know our alibis. Oh yeah, she said before, she was like, I'll tell you during the trial. I'm like, why won't you tell me now? What is it with characters withholding information? I'm sure they have their reasons, but it's annoying all the same. Alright, Tsurugi's testimony. According to Kinjo, the gunshot that caused Haruhiko's death would not have been an instant death. The bullet didn't get stuck and went through the body, so the impact was small. They may have been able to move a little. However, he said they probably died not long after his chest was blown. Alright, let's go ahead, let's start this class trial and hope for the best. Hope it goes as smoothly as the last one did. First, let's start with a brief explanation of the class trial. The outcome of the class trial is decided by your votes. Okay, well, we know all this, blah, 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 blah. It finally started, the fourth class trial. One of us is the culprit that killed Haruhiko. We must find the culprit at all costs. Now then, please begin your discussion. Guys? Oh, right, yeah. Should we start discussing? Okay, we have to work hard, so where do we start? What, the stuffy, awkward mood? Well, it's not unreasonable, because our conflict has reached its peak. First, I think each of you will have a lot of things to say before the trial, and the feelings that you're feeling will be different, but for now, let's focus on the trial in front of you, aside from everything else. Just like we did before so far, haven't we? Kinjo. As Kinjo said, now is the trial. Let's swallow what we want to say to each other for a moment, because survival's our priority now. Huh, you don't take that for granted, do you? Let's get started already. Then let's begin, once we get the case sorted out. Let's organize the series of events in chronological order based on what we each know. Hey, wait a minute. Before that, I have something to say for just a minute, please. What is it, Iranami? I'm the killer. What? What? I'm the killer. Sure. We had a short episode last week. This one. What is even shorter? Satsuki-chan. What did you say just now? I said, I'm the killer. I'm the culprit who killed Haruhiko Kobushikawa. Don't play around, Iranami. What are you saying all of a sudden? This is giving me the vibes of, was it the fourth class trial of the original Danganronpa with, Sakura's death? Or, spoilers, Aoi kind of, like, manipulated the class trial because she wanted revenge for everybody for being, like, harsh to, Sakura? What is your reasoning right now, girl? It's not a joke. Are you serious? I don't feel like Satsuki would be covering for somebody. Don't make me laugh. Do you think if you claim to be the criminal without physical evidence or logic, you'll become the culprit? But I really killed Haruhiko. It can't be. Stop making bad jokes, Satsuki-chan. You should explain one step at a time. If we listen and we're convinced, then we can really believe that you're the culprit. Suddenly, what is all this? Just as the trial begins, she said she was the culprit. If it were a normal culprit, they would never confess. But would Satsuki really be the culprit? Before making any judgments, let's first listen to her story. So, now I'm like, huh, she was one of the people that I suspected. And now I'm like, well, shit, I don't know what to think. So I'm guessing we're gonna have to poke holes in her testimony. Why are you claiming to be the culprit? Let's hear your reasoning. At dawn, Kopazing called me. Okay, that's probably the thing that's wrong, right? The letter? I followed Kopazing. We went to the arsenal. And then, all by myself, he pointed a gun at me. What? I shot him in self-defense. It can't be. Well, this one's easy enough. If Satsuki really is the culprit, then it means that the victim, Haruhiko, called the culprits. But isn't that a little weird? Haruhiko was actually the one who was called, and that clue proves it. Wait, Satsuki, Haruhiko called you? Isn't that odd? Is it weird? The victim, Haruhiko, called you? The culprit? That can't be it. Rather, the victim, Haruhiko, was called by the culprit and went to the arsenal. If you were the culprit, you would know. You're saying he was called by the killer? That's... I don't know. That's ridiculous. A letter that was put in Haruhiko's room is what he was talking about. The contents are like this. Yeah, it's not even like a matter of there was no name to it. Like, literally, Haru's name was in the letter. To Haruhiko, I have something to tell you. If you read this, why don't you come to the arsenal? I'm not trying to kill you. I hope you believe me. I'll wait. Whoa, the contents of that letter are true. It makes no sense that Kobushikawa-kun called Satsuki-chan and took her to the arsenal, right? It'd be the opposite. That's right, but Satsuki said she doesn't know much about this letter. The killer doesn't know the letter they sent. No, it doesn't make sense. I don't know. What if it was manipulation? Yuki and Tsurugi wrote that letter that I didn't know, and you're manipulating things now. Don't be thick-headed. Obviously, this evidence came from Haruhiko's room. Now, if suicides were allowed, like they were in previous, right? Because Sakura's, once again, spoiler, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, she was the one who killed herself. That was allowed, but Monokuma said straight up that that doesn't count. A suicide doesn't count. Because I would say, like, maybe Haru felt so guilty that he figured he would kill himself, lock himself in the arsenal, and kill himself so that everybody else can live. But that can't be the case. So, Iranami's not the culprit? Wrong. I really mean it. I'm the real culprit. Just looking at the current evidence, to say Satsuki is the culprit, it's hard to tell, but I want to make things a little more clear. So let's ask about it. Haruhiko's other wound, whose source is unknown to the evidence, that only the culprit, only they must know. Okay, would it be the gunshot chest, because it's the thing about the gun, or would it be the right hand? I'm gonna go with the right hand. Satsuki, if you're really the culprit, there's one thing I want you to tell me. This isn't like the letter, but a direct clue to Haruhiko's body. So, if you're the culprit, it's a clue that you must know. What's that? Haruhiko's right hand, do you recall? His right hand was completely shattered. It's hard to say that this was a gunshot wound. If you're the culprit, can you tell me the true nature of this wound? Oh, did she never... Has she not been in the arsenal at all? Because she was outside the whole time, so maybe she's unaware of it. I don't know. Why did his hand become that way? You don't have to talk anymore. You're not the culprit. God damn it. Well, there goes one of my... Unless she's doing this for some reason, I guess we can take her off the list. Damn it. Well, we're down to one person it could be. In my mind, anyway. Wait a second. I'm telling the truth. What if she was telling the truth the whole time? Why are you still claiming to be the killer? If it's real, even if you're the culprit, you'll only get executed. I don't know what you're thinking, but this is not a joke. If you unnecessarily confuse our reasoning and choose the wrong killer, we'll all die. This feels like a ploy where she just, like, puts herself out as the killer right away, give us false information, so that we're like, she can't be the killer, but then she actually is the killer, and she played us, and she's just playing dumb. Maybe that might have been the purpose. What? Oh, is she on the same path as me? She was close to Haruhiko Kobushikawa, who died this time, right? Apparently, it looks like she was in severe shock, unlike the usual one who always talks at random. With that shock in mind, you're trying to make us follow Haruhiko Kobushikawa's fate. Isn't that right? That was it? This is like what Aoi tried to do. Aoi tried to get all of us killed. She's like intentionally leading us down the wrong path because she wants revenge? Absolutely not, of course. I'm really sad Haru died, but I'm very much sane. For a clown. Stop it, Iranami. We haven't even started a proper discussion yet. If the discussion goes on, the killer will be naturally revealed. If you're really the killer, you don't have to rush things. It will all turn out okay. Satsuki-chan. Oh, alright then. Let's discuss it. Has it been roughly organized? You wasted my time on useless things. So, let's start from the beginning again. When the case happened. Hold on a minute. Is it okay to wait 1 minute before that? In this case, can we assume Iranami isn't completely the culprit? No, not necessarily. If Iranami really is the culprit, there's still a possibility. That's it? We haven't started any reasoning yet. First, there's a possibility from what happened a little while ago, but maybe there is something up. In that way, they were excluding themselves from the suspect line. That had to be calculated. With Iranami's mind, it'd be impossible to tell, so he's thinking maybe that's what she's trying to do. Hey, you're treating me like a fool right now. I don't think it was on purpose. Quiet. First, as Kinjo said, let's summarize the unfolding of the case. Oh, right. Where can we start from the evening before the incident happened? Oh, that was when Maeda-kun, Koshikawa-kun, Otori-kun, and Satsuki-chan, Mikako-chan, and me. 6 people gathered at the restaurant. Maeda-kun called us, and at that time we were all at the limit of our hunger, and we all thought to come together and meet each other in the thought that we should somehow unfold a hard policy. At that time, Taruya suggested... I'll tell you, I wasn't really sane back then. That's what happened. It was my fault for being immature. What's this? I didn't even see your faces that day before the murder took place. I didn't know this, so explain what's going on. Taruya gave us a pen and paper to nominate one victim and one culprit. He asked for one person to vote. Since Monokuma banned... Wait a minute! Wait a minute! I just realized! Taruya had... the whole thing about the pen and paper. There was a note. The note for Haruhiko. Because nobody else had a pen and paper, right? Because they were like, well, where'd you get the pen and paper from? And he's like, oh, well, I snuck it. I had it in my clothes, and I switched it over to my new clothes. Taruya is probably the murderer. Shit. That seems too obvious, though. He asked for one person to vote. Since Monokuma banned suicide, it was a plan to set up a case at the expense of 2 people. That was really crazy. I'm so sorry. It's alright. It's all over now. We almost agreed to this plan, too. It looks like the part I saw from there. I broke into the restaurant because the absurd plan was about to be implemented. Yeah, Kinjo came in and handed out guns. And then Kinjo's like, and I came in and I had an even crazier idea. He handed us guns to each of us to commit suicide. She just thinks it's hilarious. What? Oh, no, nothing at all. Keep going. She's like, I called you a psycho cop. Now you're proving me correct. Well, that's when we started to fight back against Kinjo. And then we were lucky enough to catch him. And he was judged to be dangerous, so he couldn't move anymore. Shh. Oh my, sorry. I'm so uneducated today. Continue. So? The problem starts after this. Thanks to Kinjo, the plan was halted, but there was no progress for the day. We locked Kinjo in his room and went back to our rooms. Between this morning, Haruhiko died. I couldn't sleep all night, so I was staying with my eyes open, but I heard something outside in the morning, so I went out, and Maeda was asking for help, saying the door wasn't opening. And when you somehow opened the door, you found the body. Yeah, that's right. This case is missing our eyes between the dawn hours. There's not much evidence, so we've no choice but to share information that we know with each other. First, a few alibis could be established just by hearing about this. Now, this is where, like, Mikako come in with your thing about, like, you heard people going into the arsenal. That will help a lot. Alibis? Yeah, so let's dig into the alibis one by one, alright? Alright, this is probably where we're gonna have Kurikawa's testimony. First off, it won't be a problem if I exclude myself from the suspect list since I was tied up, right? Oh, certainly. An idea where Kinjo commits the crime doesn't seem possible. I have an alibi too, Maeda and me. Okay, so that's agreeing. We were together when the BDA happened. If so, the ones who can be suspected as a criminal are Makaru, Taira, Iranami, Kurikawa. It's those 4 people. I really don't have an alibi, but it's not me. Oh, can I use Kurikawa's against that? Satsuki is the killer! You shut up already. Stop causing trouble. Alright, if only there was more information. Oh, right here. Boom. Kinjo, wait, come to think of it, I think there was someone who knows the alibis during dawn in detail. Who is it? During the investigation, Kurikawa clearly testified to me that she had seen who went to the arsenal in the morning, right, Kurikawa? Yes. What? If that's true, the culprit's already been revealed, right? You're noisy. Be quiet. Hey, dark circles. So, who'd you see? Kurokawa's room was right next to the arsenal, so she heard the door opening and closing. Of course, the arsenal is soundproof, so she didn't hear the sounds from the inside. I don't think hearing only the sound is enough to be a direct witness testimony. No, I saw people passing by in front of my door. What? No way. You've been watching the hallway all morning? Is that what you mean? No, nod. But then still, it would have been difficult to stay sane in hunger, but watching the hallway all night without sleep is... However, that worked nicely in reverse. The culprit couldn't have thought that there would be someone in the midst watching the corridor. It's a great achievement, Kurokawa. So then, who passed by? Well, I don't know the time. The exact time is unknown, but it was in this order. Okay. First was Haruhiko and Satsuki, from left to right. The arsenal didn't happen at this time. Okay. A little later, Satsuki went from right to left. She was alone at this time. A little later, after Iranami passed, Taruya went from left to right. A little later, I heard the sound of the arsenal door. Then Taruya went from right to left. Okay, and after a while, Haruhiko goes from right to left. Soon after, Haruhiko and Satsuki are together again. Wait a minute, Satsuki and Taruya wouldn't have been working together, would they? I don't see that happening. Wait a minute, I'm sorry, but wait a minute. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what's left to right or right to left. Akane's like me, terrible directions. Can you tell us a little more clearly? You're the only one that doesn't understand something so simple, aren't you? Don't cut the flow for no reason. Focus and listen. I mean, I get the gist of it, right? Of, like, left to right is going toward the arsenal, right to left is leaving the arsenal. Don't be like that. I'm a little confused, too, but let's listen to Kurokawa's story until the end and reorganize it in an easy-to-understand manner. Kurokawa, is that everything? Nod. If we can have, like, a diagram, that would be fantastic. Indeed. As you said, you can assume the killer has already revealed themselves. At the time of the investigation, I didn't know this because Kurokawa didn't tell me properly, but this is definitely a tremendous amount of information. Taruya, what do you have to say for yourself? Hey, I want to join the discussion too, but can't you tell us a little bit more easily? Oh, sorry, Tyra. I'll organize it so they're easy to understand. But before that, there's something I want to check again. The location of the room each of us was using. If we know this, I think we can properly organize Kurokawa's information. Right, because if, like, Satsuki is on the left side of the arsenal, then it would make sense why she's going that way. But the fact that Taruya went in, especially if Taruya's room is opposite from the arsenal door, then there's no reason for him to be there, plus the door opened. Well, that's certainly something I want to do, and we need to move on. From what I roughly checked with each other during the investigation. Everyone remembers the structure of the corridor behind the ballroom where the rooms are listed, right? As you'd know if you did a little closer examination, there's a small tag on the door of each room. Oh gosh, should I write this down? According to the tag, the rooms are distributed in this manner. Monokuma randomly gave us a key for each room, and from what I've investigated... Oh, little cheapies are... Yeah, Taruya, right? He's way over there. And it's me and... Okay, and Satsuki's on the opposite side, too. Now, I would understand why she would hang out with, like, Haru. They could have been going together, but Taruya... No reason. This is probably how each of us were located in each room. When we reconsidered Kurokawa's testimony after arranging the distribution of each room used by each person in this way, we can see a few suspects are eliminated. Well, I mean, I didn't understand Makako's words at all. That's your own fault. Are you gonna blow up valuable discussion time for someone like you? Wow. I would be Akane. I'd be like, can people explain directional stuff, please? Kinjo, that's too far. It's important for one person to know about the case, right? I'll rearrange and explain it to Tyra. Thank you, Yuki. Do what you like, preferably as quickly as possible. Kinjo-kun, you still don't seem to forgive me. Tyra, so, to summarize Kurokawa's words. First, the fact that Kurokawa watched the hallway this morning. Tyra, you heard that earlier, right? And based on what Kinjo summarized, Kurokawa's room is room 8. It's the room on the right side of the arsenal. When you go straight from the entrance of the arsenal to the corridor. As Kurokawa explained a little while ago, what she said was from left to right, from right to left, based on the direction facing the corridor in Kurokawa's room. Here, I'll make it more easy to understand with pictures. In the order that Kurokawa saw it, Haruhiko and Satsuki were the first people that passed by in front of the door at this time. Okay, yep, that's what I figured, yeah. She said there was no sound of the arsenal door opening at this time, so I think it's just the two of them passing by. And a little later, she said Satsuki passed by alone in the opposite direction, so she's probably just going back to her room. That makes sense. Shortly after, she said Taruya passed by. Now this is where this doesn't make sense. And at this time, she heard the sound of the arsenal door opening. This probably means Taruya went into the arsenal. After a while, the sound of the arsenal door opening was heard again, and then Taruya passed to the opposite direction. Soon after, Haruhiko passed by the same direction again. Okay. After this, Haruhiko and Satsuki went from left to right. So they went in together, and this time, the door to the arsenal was open. Someone went into the arsenal. So maybe if Satsuki didn't do it, but she saw it happen, and maybe she knows it's... I don't know, maybe that's why she's traumatized, is maybe she saw Haruhiko die. After that, there was no movement for a while, and after a little time passed, Satsuki passed by with the sound of the arsenal door opening. This is strange, okay. These are all the movements Kurokawa saw and heard during the morning. After this, well, she heard the ruckus of the arsenal door next. But that was probably the sounds of me trying to open the door. This could also be similar to maybe the end of, big spoilers for Danganronpa 2, is when there was the thing where, like, the murder was going to happen randomly, where, like, you don't know who is going to be killed. There was a whole thing about it was like a gas thing, or oh boy, I don't remember much. It was like a bomb or something, but like it just killed somebody at random. And that's the thing, is like you don't know. So maybe that's what all those guns were for. Like, or the fire, right? It was like throwing the fire thing into, oh gosh, I can't really remember too much, but all I know is like it was random. So you didn't know who was going to die or who the killer was going to be. That's right, everybody threw stuff, right? Everybody threw, but one of the things was something that would kill, so it was intentionally made to be randomized. So maybe the guns were randomly set up so that you don't, like, maybe Satsuki and Taruya set up the guns, and you don't know which gun was the one that killed, so you can't say who's the killer. I don't know. I'm really trying to figure this out. Taruya, who passed by, heard the sounds I made. And he just happened to be there, right? Then I opened the door with Taruya's help during this time. That's the summary of what Kurokawa heard and saw, roughly like this. Do you understand? Wow, when Maeda-kun explained it to me, I understood it at once. Thank you. Really, but wait, if we look from the current events on each step... Yeah, there's one suspicious person. Do you see it clearly? I can't guarantee 100% that what Kurokawa heard and saw was everything that happened at dawn, but with the information obtained, it will now result in one influential suspect of this case. That person is Taruya. Taruya. It's the only one who fits to be the main suspect of this case. This feels like this is going by very fast. Huh? Me? Also, let's talk about your weird behavior, sir. Haruhiko was the victim, so he couldn't help it. The fact Satsuki was close to Haruhiko makes me understand why she was there. But why did you move around like that so early in the morning? Oh, that was, what was it again? Right, I was investigating, yeah, everyone was in a panic, so I wanted to find clues to get out for even a little bit. Just a few hours ago, you were trying to pick two victims. The guy who was despairing and doing investigation was thinking of all these things. Doesn't that sound a little weird? That's all there is to it. The weight fixed my mind. People can change their mind easily, you know? Even if it's true that you did an investigation, if you think about it based on Kurokawa's testimony, you were only in the arsenal. What kind of investigation did you do in there? No, I never went into the arsenal. Oh, Tori-kun, please stop the pretense and explain properly. What the hell did you do in the arsenal? I never went into the arsenal. Taruya? Why does it have to be only me? I did nothing wrong. If you look at it, Satsuki also went around at dawn. Why am I only suspicious? Yeah, I'm the culprit. Are you still saying that? I told you to be quiet. Certainly, Iranami's well enough under suspicion. However, she said she didn't know the identity of the letter, nor did she know about Haru's hand. So that's it then. You're just gonna take her off the list just because she doesn't know? It's a long shot. I didn't know about anything about a letter or the right hand either. But you knew about that gun, dude. Don't be mistaken, Taruya. You now said Iranami is the culprit. And you don't even know about these clues. Well, Iranami claims to be the culprit, but she doesn't recognize these clues. They're entirely different matters. Then what about Maeda? When I saw him this morning, he was trying to get into the arsenal, so he's also suspicious. That just happened. Yes, I won't deny Maeda's a suspect as you claim. He has been in and out of the arsenal the previous day, and even this morning. He had the strange idea of going into the arsenal again. Wouldn't it be wild if I was the murderer? But this and that is a separate matter. It's been done before. As a result, Maeda failed to enter the arsenal this morning. There was no testimony from Kurokawa witnessing it in the morning, so this is not suitable for committing the crime. Well, anyway, I don't know about that. I'm not exactly trying to protect him, but relying only on Dark Circle's testimony has a slightly loose time frame. I'm going to ignore it to not make me go nuts and move on already. So, she's not being all smug, being like, I know who it is. I know that. It's about the structure of the ballroom, right? The structure? Oh, the way that you can get around? Like, you can go in a circle? Think about it. Even if Kurokawa watched the hallway all night, it's all about looking outside the room and hearing the arsenal door. But if you look at the structure of the ballroom, you can easily enter the arsenal without passing by Kurokawa's room, right? If you just go by the other way. That's a long shot. You'd have to assume that Kurokawa's watching to go the long way around. I guess if you assume anyone's watching. Because we were all at the ballroom for a week, I think everybody should know, but the arsenal is structured around the dance hall at 360 degrees. In other words, if you go back to the other side, you can enter the arsenal without being noticed by Kurokawa. Moreover, in the case of Maeda, Kurokawa does not stand out even if he does not use this method and goes straight into the arsenal from his own room, since it was in the opposite side of Kurokawa's room in the first place. Huh, you knew that too. See? Maeda's the culprit after all, you asshole! But there's something you shouldn't overlook. Even if you use some method to enter the arsenal without showing your appearance to Kurokawa, there's still the sound of the door opening and closing that could only be heard by Kurokawa. But in Makako-chan's testimony, the sound of the arsenal opening and closing was always heard before and after somebody passed her door. That's right. After all, the person who walked in and out of the arsenal at dawn, I can't think of anything other than these three people who showed up in the testimony. Haruhiko, Satsuki, and Taruya. That's all lies. So Taruya, you went into the arsenal, and I want to hear your reason to make sure. If you're really innocent, there's no reason to panic, right? Then I'm really innocent. Really, I just went to the arsenal I just went in for a minute. Uh-huh. I don't think there will be an end to this, if this goes on. What is Taruya so afraid of? I'm not sure. He doesn't want to say anything because, well, I'm not certain, but I'll have to show more convincing evidence that he has no choice but to speak with his own words. Come to think of it, there seems to be one suspicious thing about Taruya during the investigation. What was it? It was when I was investigating something in the arsenal. Let's recall that moment. Oh, well, this is easy enough. It's... Now, if I could just... A little touchy. There we go. Come to think of it, Taruya, didn't you say something strange to me while I was investigating? What? Something strange? I don't know. I found a gun that was dropped in a corner, and I checked it to investigate. Suddenly, you came out and told me not to touch it, because it will blow up. What do you mean, Maeda? Tell us in more detail. There was a gun in the corner of the arsenal that was hard to see. I tried to investigate why it was in a corner like that. Suddenly, Taruya, who was nearby, ran up and told me not to touch it because it would blow up if I shot. Maybe he thought I was going to use the gun. If you shoot, it will blow up, right? Like the other gun, potentially. The gun that maybe blew off Haru's fingers. If you shoot, it will blow up. What are you talking about? No, before answering that question, how did he know about that? That's... Maeda, the gun. Did you properly investigate it? Huh? I did examine it roughly, but it was a normal gun with nothing special. I thought it was equipped with a bomb or something, because I thought it was going to explode. Probably. It's not like that. Hey, Monokuma? Did you call me? I was enjoying this. What's up? I require you to submit evidence. Bring the gun Maeda mentioned. What? Why am I being ordered? Submit evidence? Is that possible? It is part of the debate on the class trial. There's no problem by the rules. You, the judge, have no right to deny it. That's correct. There's no profit to reject it. Besides, if it's part of the discussion, what's the point? Gee, I really don't like that attitude. How can you be so cheeky? Shut up and get it already. Hoo-hoo, actually, I thought this was going to happen, and I brought it from the beginning. No, here you go. Maybe because Taruya knows stuff about guns, maybe it's not necessarily that it's got a bomb in it, but maybe he's, like, jammed it somehow so that it will, like, it'll backfire or something? I don't know. How is it? This is it. And he'll know about guns, right, Kinjo? Oh, something with the bullet. It's a bullet. Bullet? It was loaded? It's not a simple bullet. It's a bullet for shotguns and medium-sized rifles. Bullets that do not meet the standard were forcibly loaded into this gun. Oh, that is true! So the gun would intentionally, like, do something if they tried to fire it. If you pull the trigger with one of these, a bullet that doesn't fit the magazine, it enters the chamber and blocks the muzzle, and of course no bullet shell will come out. The pressure from the gunpowder has disappeared from where it's supposed to go. Instead, it spreads all over the gun itself. It will end up being shattered. Wait a minute, but then why did Taruya know about this? Why? I see now what you did in the arsenal. Otori-kun, did you change the bullets on purpose? For what reason? The gun in that state, if you hold it with a human hand and fire it, your hand will never be safe. When I listened to those words just now, I saw a very similar wound I remembered in my mind. The source is clear, Haruhiko's right hand. I understand now. Haruhiko was hit by the explosion of the pistol that Kinjo was holding right now. That evidence was also in the arsenal. That proof is... it'd be the shattered gun, right? Yeah, that's right. It was in the arsenal. The fragments of a gun filled with blood, which appeared to have been burst from the inside. Yeah, I saw it too. Haruhiko fired the gun wrongly loaded, just like this gun, and the gun he was holding exploded. So Haruhiko got into a confrontation with somebody, and was intentionally set up to fire a gun that was loaded wrong. The gun he was holding exploded, and his hand ended being ruptured. Then Hattori-kun did this to Kobushikawa-kun. Wait a minute, I'm sure this gun is the one I touched, but I don't know about the other destroyed gun. Oh, you admitted it, the fact that you touched the gun. No. He's terrible. Of course, there are two guns with misloaded bullets. It's a little weird, but I'm certain, Taruya, you've definitely done something. Is that really it? I think if you pry a little more, you'll end up confessing everything. This seems like this is going to be another very short investigation. Potentially a very short and straightforward, trial. There's got to be more to it than this. Don't treat people like criminals without solid evidence. Even if I put my hands on the gun, it can't be proof that I'm a killer. So, I don't know anything. Give me the proof. Evidence. It can't be denied Taruya is the most powerful suspect right now, but is there any more solid evidence? If we keep discussing this, we might see something we haven't considered before. Oh, the bullet scan. Is this a new thing, or is this... Let me check this. Insert long explanation of the bullet scan. Oh, that's right, to make your own bullet. I appreciate the fact that the game lets me know, because I was worried about this when it first popped up. Was like, oh no, is this something I'm going to have to be aware of for, like, every time I do a non-stop debate? Okay, I had trouble with this last time, though. X to scan. Maintain pressed while scanning the yellow words and recording the bullets. Remember, there's only one true scan bullet. If you scan the wrong one, you won't be able to record it. Okay, so X to scan. Okay. Alright, I don't know anything. It's already been revealed. Stop lying and tell the truth. You went to the arsenal, you deliberately loaded the gun wrongly so the bullet would explode. But only doing that doesn't mean I'm the culprit, does it? Of course you loaded the gun. You can say it doesn't make you the culprit, but... The killer loaded the bullet on purpose. I'm certain of this. Okay, that could be one. That's far-fetched. I'm not a killer. Because I did one thing, you're treating me like a culprit. Okay. You knew the gun was going to explode. What more evidence do you want to see? Hattori-kun, how could you? Oh, what's this? Oh, pen and paper! Pen and paper! I mentioned this! Okay. I think that's what we're gonna have to load up. It's certain Taruya went into the arsenal at dawn and secretly manipulated the gun, but is that really all there is? Did they sneak at dawn? So he said just the one thing, so we're probably gonna have to use the thing about the pen and paper, and then use that. Okay. Okay, let's do it. Now I just have to do this correctly. That's the hard part. Okay, so we're probably going to use, yeah, the bullet on that thing. We're only the one thing. Nice. There we go. I'm so proud of myself that I remembered the whole thing, that he's the only one that would have a pen and paper. This really seems like it's gearing up to be Taruya. I can't see anybody else it could be so far. That's it. The paper and pen. What? After listening to Tyra's words, I thought about it. At the beginning of the trial, you guys remember the letter that you said when you were blaming Satsuki? I've been thinking that it's been weird all this time. How did the culprit write this letter? We should have lost all of our belongings at the same time when we were in the ballroom. Hearing that, yeah, how did... Oh. Exactly as Maida said. Perhaps the night before the murder, there was someone who secretly handed a piece of paper, and had been secretly showing a paper to ask someone to choose two victims? Oh, heek! It's obvious at this point that Taruya clearly said, at the time, the extra paper and pen were not removed from his clothes. That means Taruya is the only one of us who has a pen and paper in their belongings. Now, he would still be very suspicious, but if he hadn't shown his hand with that pen and paper, maybe he would have had a better alibi. Don't joke around. You could have accidentally found another piece of paper and wrote in it. Oh, is that so? Should we check then? Monokuma, bring that letter. I knew that would happen, so I brought it in advance. Here. Is it on the back, does it have like Taruya's name on it, like it's monogrammed? Now, without this guy making commotion, let's read it. This must be it. It's the same paper Taruya had. Then Hattori-kun was the one who sent that letter to Kobushikawa-kun's room. Wait a minute, you're forcing me. I handed out a bunch of papers to you guys. Soon after that, when Kinjo made a fuss, he might have gotten one in the massive confusion. If it's only paper, that might be possible, but what about your side? You said it with your own words. There's only one pen. No matter how much paper you had, you cannot write a letter without a pen. The pen was also in the confusion. Oh, then that means you don't have the pen right now, because you said you only have one. If we look into your belongings and the party clothes you wore, you won't have any complaints, right? Oh my gosh, that's not allowed. Why not? Is there something we shouldn't see? This feels too... like we have so many things that we still have to go over. Oh gosh, it's gotta be more than this. I'm not even 40 minutes in. It's decided then. You can't refute it anymore. You wrote the letter by calling out Haruhiko and misloaded a bullet to let his hand be ruptured. All of this. That's what you did, Taruya. Really? You, Hattori-kun? Why? Why? I still believe Satsuki's in on this somehow. Why did you do this? Why did you kill Kobushikawa-kun? Oh, I'm sorry. All you said was right. After all, you couldn't stand the hunger too? What else could someone do otherwise? Actually, there was a reason I was aiming at Haruhiko, and there was a reason when we fought that day. It was all because of hunger. Hattori-kun. So what, were you hoping for sympathy? Either way, you planned the murder and executed it. No, I have nothing to say. I don't want to make any more excuses and dishonor Haruhiko anymore. I'm going to die anyways. Wait, there's one thing I'm curious about. Why did you go to the arsenal before the victim? Work with the gun, write a letter to call him, then go back to the arsenal. My plan was to originally summon Haruhiko, and then see him go to the arsenal, and I'd go with him. Oh, it's because Satsuki was with him? As if it had nothing to do with the criminal, Haruhiko and I were supposed to fight, and I'd provoke him into letting me shoot him with the gun I prepared. Once that happens, his hand would fly away without knowing anything, so he'd die. In the past, I followed my papa to study guns in America. I decided to commit a crime by using the knowledge I gained at the time. So I went back to my room and watched to see Haru come out. But I was too tired, so I fell asleep until morning came. In the end, I don't know the reason why Haru broke his hand, but in any case, it was my fault. The fact I killed Haruhiko doesn't change. So he didn't fire the gun at him. So Satsuki could still be the killer. Interesting. So he's saying he didn't shoot the gun at him. This was a difficult answer to even predict. I'm glad you're a stupid fool, right? He's saying that he didn't fire the gun because he fell asleep. In a way, Kurokawa, who was watching the corridor all morning, I think that was a good thing. Thanks to that, my crime was discovered. At least he's showing remorse, like he did it out of hunger. Taruya, this was like a necessity. It wasn't for other reasons, just like wanting to get out. Like, they literally were all about to die. The discussion so far has ended with the conclusion that Taruya's the culprit. It seems like a long shot, I think. There's still a lot of unsolved questions. Wait a minute, I've been listening to this all this time. Something's wrong. Taruya's not the culprit. Satsuki-chan, what are you talking about? Otori-kun just admitted it. I mean, the culprit is me. Are you still saying that? I told you to shut up. Wait, oh, is Taruya really the culprit? I knew it. I was like, this is too straightforward. Even Makako-chan. If I'm right, Taruya is not the culprit. There's still an unsolved mystery. What are you guys talking about? I'm the culprit, aren't I? I'm almost 90% certain that Taruya is the culprit, but it's still a little too early to end the trial. I agree that there's an unsolved mystery left. What if it's somebody completely different? It's not Satsuki or Taruya. If we try to vote without anyone speaking up like this, I would have tried to do it, but actually, this is the most important part of the case right now. What? What's all this all of a sudden? Wasn't the trial ending like this? That's right. We think about it carefully. There's still a lot of parts that cannot be explained on the contents of the discussion. He's like, wait, there's a lot of truth bullets we didn't go over. But I would like to hear why Kurokawa thinks Taruya is not the culprit. You weren't careful enough, even for Kinjo. What? Nothing. Anyway, if you listen to the explanation, you'll know right away. Oh yeah, there's that whole thing, right? About the trap. The guns, or the flash grenades. Why do you think Taruya isn't the culprit? When Taruya passed the door to my room, he sent a letter to Haruhiko. Okay, so yeah, that was it. Afterwards, he went inside the arsenal for his next plan. That's the explanation so far. Okay. But after that, Taruya passed the door to my room again. There was no movement until the morning after, because that's like he said, he fell asleep. Is this about the gunshot wound? But they were... Even if Taruya did plot something, even if Haruhiko's hand was exploded. Yep, it's the gunshot wound. The direct cause of death is the gunshot wounds. True, Taruya didn't mention that he used the gun himself. Oh, but that would be me going against it if Taruya, who came out of the arsenal before Haruhiko, could not kill. The arsenal was blocked from the inside. Okay, wood plank, go! There we go. So Satsuki would be the only one that would have gone into the arsenal with him, so... I am still so confused about this. Okay. The wood plank. Are you referring to this, Kurokawa? That's right, Maeda. You mean the broken wood plank that fell near the arsenal door? Yeah, according to Maeda, he opened the arsenal door in the morning with Taruya's help. You're not going to say just because they opened the door together, he's not the culprit, are you? That's not it. Think about it. After Taruya entered and left the arsenal in the morning, Haruhiko entered afterwards. Okay, after Taruya entered and left the arsenal in the morning, Haruhiko entered after. Until this moment, the door to the arsenal was open, right? Then, when was the door blocked with the wood planks? Well, when was it? Is it for a fact Kobushikawa couldn't open the door and went in? Doesn't that mean that the door was blocked after? That is true, but according to Dark Circle's testimony, Taruya Tori did not enter the arsenal after doing his little scheme. In other words, Taruya wasn't the one who blocked the door with a wood plank. It's only natural. When I tried to open the door with Maeda in the morning, I was embarrassed to know that the arsenal, which had only been opened, was not opening. As I said before, you must pass by Kurokawa's room. Even if you don't, you can head to the arsenal door. After that, the door to the arsenal was opened one more time. At that time, Taruya finished his plan. That's impossible. Since Haruhiko was the last one to enter, the arsenal door had been opened only once. If Taruya went in and out of the arsenal, I should have heard the sound twice. Well, for starters, the wood plank was used to clasp the door, I guess. If you do something like this from the inside, wouldn't you be able to come out? That's true, but even if you put a plank by some trick from outside, there wasn't just one plank. You know what I'm talking about, right, Maeda? There wasn't just one plank. Yes, I saw it clearly. The thing that fell with the plank near the door, at the same time it fell to the ground. As soon as the plank was crushed, it made a loud noise. That thing was... This one's been pretty easy so far, but I feel like I'm getting cocky. I might get really stuck later. The object that was separated from the plank. You mean the flash and smoke grenades, right? Flash and smoke grenades? Oh, are those things that were near the door? Yes, when Taruya and I first opened the door, we heard a shattering sound from the inside, and immediately afterwards, a tremendous amount of light and noise hit us. And then, after a few moments, when we opened our eyes, the arsenal was filled with smoke. After pulling out the plank from the handle, the door was opened, and the plank fell because of the effort we did. That's right. Now you see, it's impossible to block the door like that from the outside. Damn these locked room scenarios, they always get me. What? Then you're saying a Tori-kun is not the culprit? Wait a minute, but it was me who wrote the letter and had a gun ready to explode. It was the reason Haru saw the gun, and then it exploded in his hand. I told you a little while ago. It is true Haruhiko's right hand was ruptured, but the cause of death was the gunshot wound. Taruya, you only prepared the gun, but you didn't shoot Haruhiko, did you? No. Hold it. Taruya has an obvious murder intent. Now it's a contradiction to say that he isn't the culprit. What's wrong, Mr. Psycho Cop? Using forceful logic in that way doesn't seem like it would reach an answer like this. Dark Circles is right. I don't think Taruya Tori is the killer either. Then, who is the culprit? You're saying it's impossible for Taruya to block a door. However, no one else can do it. That's true. That's the biggest mystery in this case. So what you're all saying is, in short, it's an impossible crime. Oh, we love impossible crimes, don't we? That's a great way to... That's a great thing. Impossible crimes. We love those. Well, I usually stop my episodes during, like, the kind of intermission, but it's been a pretty short episode, and I felt bad that it was, like, last week's was so short, so you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna try and finish this all right now in one go. Plus, like, what a cliffhanger. We're continuing this. An impossible crime. What does that mean? It's literally what it means. The incident happened, but no one in the state is capable of causing the incident itself. That can't be. I can affirm there is no such thing as an impossible crime in this world. I agree with this. There's no unsolved problem in the world. When a result has happened, it means that there was a series of processes. Then, in this case, how do you explain it? To assert that there was an impossible crime, you gave up on the case. There is a secret that has not yet been solved, where your thoughts don't reach to the end. But if neither Kinjo-kun and Makaru, who always knew the critical points of the case, weren't confused enough to say that, it's already a mystery that can't be solved? Shut up! Do I look like I'm panicking right now? Sorry, but it looks like that. It's been a few days now, but these days you are not Kinjo at all, just like Maeda-kun before coming to the ballroom. You're being very annoying, damn criminal. Kinjo, why are you saying that? It's not really like you to get emotional so easily. Ignore it. Now, we're in a trial. This is a life or death war. You take care of someone who loses their temper during a war, you'll have to go through them. There's no other option. This person or that person, I'm done. Again, this case isn't an unsolved crime. Let's organize the information. Kinjo. First, even if we put on hold Taruya's claim that the crime is impossible, it will be necessary to look at the case from a different point of view. A different point of view? In retrospect, all of the reasoning we've done so far is based on Kurokawa's testimony. Oh, is he saying, like, right off maybe she's lying? Let's step back here for a moment. Has anyone seen Kurokawa spying in the hallway? Or on the hallway? What? What do you mean? In short, Kurokawa's testimony is not too blind, but are Kurokawa's words 100% true? She would be hungry in extreme circumstances. Would she bear with that in mind? Oh, so he's not saying necessarily she's lying, just like, is it accurate? Lastly, there could be a possibility, that Kurokawa's the culprit. When that idea comes up, she could be playing with all of us. No, I feel like she's too important of a character to be dying right now. Kinjo. Hey, did you go crazy? Did you really flip around that fast? That's stuff that comes out of your mouth. What? I'm talking about possibilities. At the time of Tamori's murder, during Kinjo's testimony, you put a thread on our private room doors to prove our alibis, but that was evidence that no one else knew other than you. It's the same story. It's different from that. What I've been doing at the time is what I've been doing before the incident. This is just simply what you've seen and heard. It's meaningless to condemn the truth or falsehood in a testimony. Did you forget what you said? Oh, I love when they're throwing the words back at Kinjo. Haru did it. She's doing it. It's utterly disappointing, Tsurugi Kinjo. Even though I was thinking you were just a crazy guy, I admitted your reasoning skills, but now you've stopped thinking with your head. But since the situation's quite desperate, isn't Kinjo trying to do everything he can? Kurokawa, is there no way to prove it? Your testimony, I mean. I don't know why I have to do this. Why not ask Satsuki or Taruya? Huh? You've heard about my testimony. Taruya admitted he entered the arsenal a while ago. Oh, so she's saying, like, they haven't argued about, like, what I said being incorrect. What about Satsuki? If I was out at dawn, well, like Kurokawa said, since I'm the killer above top, of course I wandered around at dawn. Even if we ignore the backstory, Dark Circle's testimony is reliable in its own right now. If I were you, I would have known that right away without having to do this cumbersome work. You're noisy. As long as your reasoning hits a wall, it's a way to do what you can. You admitted with your own words that your reasoning was blocked now? That's funny. Be quiet, Makaru. You're on the same level as we are right now. Do you think you're in a position to mock others now? That's enough. How come Kurokawa can have this powerful voice in a class trial? Well, someone's got to step in for the lawyer. Everyone, don't get worked up. Since this is a difficult case, we need to regain stability more than usual. So let's calm down and look back again from the beginning. There must be something we missed. Sorry, as Maeda says, I was getting too excited. I apologize. Taruya Tori is not the culprit, I'm sure up to this point. Even if that's true, we'll have to double check. Taruya, are you really sure you sent a letter to Haruhiko and loaded the bullets? Well, yes. I'll say, I still can't believe I'm not the culprit. I didn't really read the Monokuma file properly, so in a hurry, I saw the right hand ruptured, so I guessed I was the one who did it. That probably isn't a lie. Taruya really thought he was the killer. He said a little while ago, as if confessing. He told us he was going to be executed. It's not likely, but something came to my mind. Can I speak? Go ahead. An accomplice. Yeah, the accomplice that we didn't get in the third class trial that usually happens, and I was surprised. Or in fact, there were two culprits. How about it? Dismissed. Anyways, all opinions from your brain like that are what? I didn't even expect it. Rubbish opinions like that. A story not worth considering. Anything like that, just crumple it up, take it out of your brains, and throw it into the trash. That's unfair. I said that because I was just thinking in my own way. If Taruya had an accomplice, there would have been a person who objected at the time of him being accused as the culprit. Well, unless they were actually the killer and they want to get away with it, right? Even if not, Taruya would have confessed everything and made a mistake in the end. But what if there was a real criminal and pointed out Torikun as the culprit? Everyone except the real culprit dies, right? Can't you think of a development like the culprit using a Torikun? Oh, you're using your head, but that wouldn't be it. Even if a culprit secretly works behind Taruya Tori to cover up his sins, it's impossible to work without him because of the limited circumstances of the arsenal. Plus, they would have to, like, predict that he was going to fall asleep and not actually kill Haruhiko, so... And even if there is an accomplice, if we believe using Kurokawa's testimony, the only suspect remaining is Iranami, so she can't be. Why not? Huh? Wait a minute. I had a thought that just passed like a flash in my head just now. No, I am the real culprit. You're relentless. Why are you claiming to be the killer? Even after this, you don't know anything about the case. The more you claim to be the culprit, the more you claim your innocence. You still don't notice? Let's organize our thoughts. First, Taruya's not the culprit. He didn't shoot. What Taruya did was call Haru by using a letter and made a trap that explodes the gun by misloading the bullet. The person who killed Haruhiko himself, in other words, what the real culprit did, what Taruya didn't do, that is, grabbing a gun to kill Haruhiko, messed up the interior of the arsenal and finally locked the door with the plank and the grenades. Taruya doesn't know what the real culprit did. If we think like that, conversely, does the culprit know what Taruya did? The real culprit wouldn't know what Taruya did. Oh, as Makara said earlier, what Taruya did was unknown to anyone since he was in the closed space of the arsenal. Unless the culprit directly sees it, or Taruya tells them in advance. It can't be Haruhiko. That's the only person I could think of that, like, would be able to lock it from the inside, because he was already in there. Then who's the killer? Wait, guys, there's something I want to check for a moment. Maeda? Before Kurakawa watched during the morning, from that point on, what if someone was hiding inside the arsenal? Oh, could there be such a case? No, I don't think that would happen. Kinjo was tied up, and I saw Taira go into the room before. Makaru? Last time she went into the empty room to the left of the dance hall, she didn't exit the room at all. When did you see this? Well, you're right. I was investigating the empty room all day long. Then, there are only 2 suspects that Kurakawa has seen, and they don't know what the other person has done. Alright, it's gotta be Satsuki. It's the only person it can be. She's been telling us the truth the whole time. In other words, the real culprit doesn't know Haruhiko received the letter, and they don't know why their hand was ruptured, but for some reason, Haruhiko was shot with a gun and killed. There is someone who could fit the conditions right now. That turned themselves in at the start of the... Well, I mean, even if we had any doubts about it, he just told us right now, the person who's been turning themselves in. They entered in the suspect's view since they moved at dawn, and no one else could commit a crime at that stage. But is this person really the culprit? If so, why in the world? There we go. Yep. All of you guys don't want to admit it, but I think I know now. The identity of the culprit. What? Maeda-kun, you know the culprit? The person who satisfies all the conditions as the true culprit of this case. It can only be you. Satsuki. What? Satsuki's the killer? Hooray! You finally come to think of me as the culprit. Only Yuki understands me. I'm so glad. Then again, you know what? We have had this happen before, where we pick someone... This is like the Akane situation, where we pick someone, but they didn't end up to be the killer. I'm so glad. Wait, Maeda, look at her now. She was picked as the culprit, but she looks rather content. Do you really think Satsuki is the culprit? I feel like Satsuki killed Haru on accident. Like, she didn't mean to do it. So this is her trying, like, atone for her sins to, like, admit it. Think about it. The only one who could possibly do this is Satsuki. At the beginning of the trial, when Satsuki came out saying she was the culprit, we were trying to interrogate her to see if she really was. However, Satsuki had no idea of the letter that called Haruhiko in his destroyed right hand, which we thought the culprit would know, of course. So, we thought because of these reasons, that she wasn't the real culprit. She's the most honest killer of them all! But take a look. The 2 things mentioned earlier are actually from Taruya's doing, not the culprit's. Taruya didn't know that there was someone who killed Haruhiko by shooting him with a separate gun. So, on the contrary, did the culprit know that Taruya sent a letter and destroyed his hand? Probably not. It'd be impossible to know Taruya's actions, unless he himself told the culprit in advance. Then the real culprit would be a person who doesn't know why the letter was sent to Haruhiko's room, and his right hand exploded, even though they didn't know why his hand ended up that way. And there's someone who meets these conditions. The person who confessed with their own voice that they killed Haru by shooting them, but didn't mention about the right hand nor the letter, and that person is Satsuki. So when she wasn't able to look at the body, it was, like, probably guilt as well, assuming she's the killer, and that we're not going to have, like, a last-minute person who's completely different. Well, I'm not sure what you're saying, because it's difficult, but anyways, that's right. It was me. I killed Haruhiko. But she seems too happy about it. Like, that's her closest friend. Maybe it's some weird disassociation or something. Yeah, I think Maeda-kun's reasoning is making sense, but I don't really understand Satsuki-chan's appearance being like that. Why did you do this, Satsuki-chan? Why do you like it so much when you're being named as the killer? Kobushikawa-kun, who is close to you, with your own hands? How could you say it so lightly that you killed him? Weren't you sad? Think again, incompetent. Of course it's possible to commit the crimes you said. There's only that woman, but that's absolutely not the reaction of a killer. I'm not crazy. It's very normal. I'm a clown. And, like, this is just how we are. Actually, I don't know why Satsuki reacts like this and keeps saying she's the culprit. However, I can't think of any other reason. Now it's making me think it's not her. But I don't know who else it could be. Maeda's words make sense. In fact, at the time, Taruya was not found to be the killer. It was enough to doubt Satsuki because of the circumstances. I was saying that it was all like her doing this as like a ploy where she comes out as the killer, saying she's the killer. We're all going to be like, you're just being silly, Satsuki. But it's like a 4D chess move. But I think it's literally just like, maybe she doesn't get the full, depth of what she's done. Or she just wanted to confess to it right away. And she's just being very earnest. Maybe, as soon as the trial began, Satsuki couldn't be the culprit. We were stuck in stereotypes, and we didn't think about it. Satsuki, I'll check once more. Are you the culprit? Haruhiko, you killed him with a gun in your hand? Yeah, that's right. I'm the killer. Wait, if you're the real culprit, can you explain why you're so positive? You were like the one constantly appealed to him as the culprit. I don't know, just when the trial started, it became bothersome to make excuses, so that's why I confessed. Now, if it's decided, go ahead and execute me. If you sound so refreshingly like that, it doesn't look like you're a criminal, on the contrary. I have my doubts, too. In the first place, Satsuki-chan doesn't have a personality to kill, even though she's resolute to this point. Like Bakaro said, it would seem rather like we're choosing the wrong killer, and we're gonna die together. That's not it at all. I was just telling the truth. Maybe she thought that she killed him as well, like Taruya, but she didn't? What do I do? It's hard to make sure after identifying the killer. This attitude Satsuki has. It's a reaction that defies understanding, like Makaru said. Even like this, can I still point to Satsuki as the culprit? Maybe Haru asked Satsuki to kill him to atone for, you know, he didn't want her to die, so maybe he's like, I want you to kill me so everybody can get out. Everyone stop. Why are you thinking about it? A crime is possible, but the reaction is weird? Wake up already. The crime is impossible even for Satsuki. Oh. Why is that? But Kinjo, based on the testimony by Kurokawa, Haruhiko, Taruya, and Satsuki, she entered the arsenal at dawn, or Taruya and Satsuki entered the arsenal at dawn. Of them, Taruya was the first to come out of the arsenal, and then Haruhiko entered the arsenal because he was walking through the corridor with Satsuki, just before this point. If they entered the arsenal together, then that means perhaps it was at this time that Haruhiko used the gun, and this is likely to be true just by looking at the sounds of the arsenal opening, and Satsuki coming out alone from the corridor. There's probably something I'm missing here. Back off, Maeda. You said it with your own words just now. Satsuki kills Haruhiko and gets out of the arsenal all alone. Oh, she came out. How did she lock the door? Oh. It's a clue you guys found and checked yourselves, right? It's impossible to block the door from the outside. Maybe Haru did it? I don't know. If so, the killer was in the arsenal, at least until Maeda and Taruya opened the door. However, Satsuki came out of the arsenal before this. Does that sound like she could still be the killer? Good, I'm glad it's not being quite so straightforward. This is what I want. And if you look at Satsuki's reaction, that girl used a weapon, but it seems that she doesn't know that the arsenal was blocked. So, what now? Is Satsuki a ninja now? Maybe. What was that again? Oh, I know. Maybe you don't know, but if you used the plank of wood as a barricade. It seems you were asleep during the trial. How about this? Is there anyone who still thinks Satsuki is the culprit? After listening to Kinjo, it seems Satsuki really isn't the culprit. In the end, the problem lies with the arsenal door being blocked. If we solve this, there should be no problem, even if Satsuki is the culprit. Even if you think about it again, it's impossible to put a wood plank inside the arsenal from the outside with grenades on it. There is no time frame at all. I think the current prerequisites were all wrong. The public here probably won't solve this mystery. I'd rather go back from the very beginning and reorganize the case instead. Oh, this might be a long one. Well, that sounds nice and all, but I hate it when the trial's taking too long, don't you? It's not a warning, but you better wrap things up soon. Oh, okay. The alibis of Dawn, Kurokawa's testimony, Taruya's behavior, the wood plank that blocked the arsenal, and Satsuki's incomprehensible reactions. Maybe. Have we missed something else? Why does Satsuki have that attitude in the first place? Even Kinjo seems to be confused. Our reasoning is at the very core right now. I think Kinjo's right. Blocking the door to Satsuki. This is a big problem. My mind is getting more and more complicated. Right now, this is the most important... what if... Because they did say that, like... They did say Haru would be able to survive a little bit after, and he did have a blown-off hand, so it might be tough, but maybe he told Satsuki to kill him, and then she left, and then he blocked it from the inside, so that Satsuki couldn't possibly be pointed to as the murderer, and she could at least live. Maybe? Right now, this is the most important aspect of the case. The arsenal door, the wood plank, the grenades. How to block the door from the outside. And it would also explain why there was so much blood all over the place, as maybe he was gathering the supplies to be able to set up the blockade. Wait, you don't need to go back to the start. If you think about it a little, it should become clear. It's an utter waste of time. Wait a minute, what's the reason for the flash grenade and smoke screen? At the moment the door opened, the criminal is hidden inside, escapes through the light and smoke. Then the trick to block the arsenal from the inside solved. But I'm afraid not. This was already mentioned. It's ridiculous when you think about Dark Circle's testimony at the very beginning. It's been seen that Taruya Tori and Satsuki Uranami, both of them, came out of the arsenal. Inside the arsenal, the last one who came out was Satsuki, I'm sure, but opening the door and coming out of the arsenal means the door was not blocked until that last moment. And it's gotta be Haru. I bet Haru did it. Well, in a word, doesn't that mean that the body of Haruhiko was left? And that's why his body was right at the front, right? I bet he did it. Oh, I bet he and Satsuki, like, that's my guess of what happened. In a word, doesn't that mean that the body of Haruhiko was left alone in the arsenal until just before Maeda and I opened the door together in the morning? What does that mean? It doesn't make sense. It wasn't that the body was alive and blocked the door alone. Oh no, this is starting to sound creepy. Huh? What, Tyra, wait a second. What'd you just say? That it started to get creepy? No, before that. The body moved and blocked the door like a zombie from a... Yep, I bet that's what it is. Well, of course it won't. Such health science is unscientific. It's like the bear in front of our very eyes. It's unscientific. Or did it blow... Did the trap blow his body back? Did they set up his body near the door and then it blew his body back? I don't... Hey, what the heck did you just say? I'll have you know, I'm a cutting-edge science product. The body moved and blocked the door? Of course, a reality like that doesn't exist. But as Taruya said earlier, it was Haru alone who remained in the arsenal until the end. No way. Could it be? The person who blocked the door to the arsenal? That person's identity is... Okay, flash anagram. Okay. I knew one was coming up this time. So, let me just get... Because I cannot do this on my own. So, let me just get the answer to that. Now, the thing is, I don't actually know what the answer is because it's in Korean, but I need to at least know what the letters are so that I can do it. So hold on just one moment. Alright, so I've got the answer. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so let me just get myself reacquainted with this. Oh, some of them are filled in. That's nice. I appreciate that. Oh, this one. Okay, the next one is this one. Okay, and the next one is you. Oh. Okay, and... Alright, get back here, you son of a bitch! There we go. One more. Okay, why are there no letters? What are you doing? Oh my god, the game glitched out. Okay, I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Wait, but the letters aren't... There we go. Why isn't it working? Why? There we go. Oh. I had a little bit of a heart attack. I'm like, why are there no more letters popping up? There we go. That's it. It has to be only him, the identity of the person who blocked the door to the arsenal. Really? Maeda-kun, do you know who the killer is? I don't think you're about to say it was Kobashikawa-kun just because the body moved, right? I was just joking. No, thanks to Tyra, I could come up with something else. Look at her. She came up with something. That's right. The only one that could block the arsenal door was none other than Haruhiko. Eh? Haruhiko's the culprit? You're saying he committed suicide? Wait, have you forgotten? As Monokuma said, suicide's forbidden, and if you kill yourself in any way or form, you'll treat it like a dog death. Haruhiko was murdered by someone other than himself. That's why Monokuma treated this as a case, and a class trial was held like this. No, Maeda never said he committed suicide. He said the person who blocked the door to the arsenal was Haruhiko. I bet that's what it is. And that's why Satsuki is like... I bet Haru did this, so he's like... He told Satsuki, like, Satsuki, I want you to kill me. I feel guilty for what I did. I want to be the one to sacrifice myself, but I can't kill myself. So it was like the thing that maybe he got the idea from Kinjo and from Taruya. It's like, I want you to kill me, and I want you to leave. And then I'm gonna, like, board up everything so that no one can think Satsuki did it because of the locked room situation. And he probably told Satsuki, like, I want you... Maybe Haru told her, like, I want you to get out of here. I want you to make it out. Or maybe he told her, like, tell everybody that you did it so at least other people can survive. So that's why Satsuki's happy. Because, like, she's doing what she was told to do by Haru. So she sees this as, like, helping her friend. What? Like Maida said. And that's so sweet. It's, like, on par with the last one with the lawyer, like, trying to save Kanata and just, like, oh, so sad. Like, if this is what happened, like, Haru is such a good dude. Like Maida said. I mean, if he only wanted Satsuki to live, kind of douchey, but he at least sacrificed himself so everybody else wouldn't starve. Like Maida said, the person who killed Haruhiko with the gun is the killer, Satsuki, but it was impossible for Satsuki. The task of blocking the arsenal was possible for Haruhiko. How about that? It means the reason why Satsuki can't be the culprit is now gone. No, that can't be possible. The fact Haruhiko blocked the door to the arsenal is just a simple assumption. And it may be possible in context, but there's no evidence of this. He just doesn't want to admit that Akane was right about something. No evidence? No, there is proof of this. I don't mean ill will just because Haru blocked the door without evidence. But Kinjo wouldn't be unaware of this evidence. Why does he argue so much? No, let's not bother right now. Now the case comes first. The evidence Haru may have blocked the arsenal door is... Is it the bloodstain? Little strange, as he was wandering throughout the arsenal, blood was smeared everywhere. Was the killer dragging his corpse around? There must be a reason for the blood to be left in this state. I'm guessing it's going to be that, about the unusual blood. Yeah. There's evidence. It's the blood. Blood? The blood that splattered in the arsenal. Everybody's seen it, right? Don't you think it was a little strange looking? Oh, it certainly felt a little weird. It felt like, well, you know, like it was a road made by blood rather than a blood spot. That's right. It looks like bloodstains wandering around in the arsenal after Haruhiko was shot. Wouldn't that explain why he was bleeding while looking for boards, flash, and smokescreen grenades? It is plausible, but would it be compelling that Haruhiko Kobushikawa himself locked the door of the arsenal simply by looking at his blood? It's not reasoning, but a realm of speculation. But it's not a contradiction. Only Haruhiko has a certain possibility, and even if the culprit dragged the body, there's no reason for it to only leaves evidence behind. No, it is a contradiction. Kinjo. I can see that all Maida's words were all true, but Haruhiko was murdered by a very cruel killer. Let me ask a simple question. Why in the world will the victim help elaborate more tricks for the killer, if not to leave evidence of their crime? I think Kinjo is just, he can't comprehend the idea that the killer, or that the murdered person would help the killer get away. The answer is you don't know about that. But if you wander around about emotional things, and that's the thing, Kinjo refuses to see things from an emotional point of view, but that's the only way you can explain it, is by looking into the emotional aspects of it. You look only at the information left in the case, it makes sense that it's Haruhiko that just closed the door, even with the process of elimination method. This is not about being emotional. This is about the victim helping the killer. There can't be such a thing. Stockholm Syndrome? I don't believe in any of that crap. That kind of thing is psychotic. Even that requires the premise that the killer had some kindness and gentle behavior towards their victim. But does that reflect reality? Did the killer show kindness to Haruhiko? No, rather, they murdered them in cold blood. Maida's reasoning is the worst, not to mention forced and far-fetched. Hey, what is this Stockholm Syndrome? It's when victims are held hostage by a robber or kidnapper, but rather that they think of themselves as their saviors. It's like a phenomenon that antagonizes rescuers, police, etc., and they take the criminal side. Kinjo, it's weird. If you were the usual you would rather have ruled out such emotional things and reasoned it out by considering the logical situations. You said I was being emotional. This is natural. You just don't see it. If the victim who deserves salvation agrees to the obvious evil, it becomes impossible to reason with. This choice is not logical. Saving them is what I have to do. I can't leave alone your pretentious reasoning, And besides that, there are loopholes in Maeda's reasoning. I'll just do what I have to do. I'll refute. Oh, here we go. Alright, I think this is the first time we've had one, like, refuting going against him. I'll correct that ridiculous reasoning, Maeda. What the hell are you doing, Kinjo? You know it's best that there's no more to refute here. You're making an unacceptable reasoning from my point of view. He's so rigid. That's Kinjo's problem. He's too rigid. That can't happen. And it shouldn't happen. And if there's anything to refute, then I'll do it, Maeda. I really like what they've done with Kinjo's character. Whereas before he seemed like he'd be an ally, and now he's kind of more of an antagonist. Oh crap, what was Kinjo's testimony? Oh no. Wait, cut finger? Say something that makes sense, Maeda. Why does the victim have to become a helper for the victim? Damn, he's hard. Besides, if you listen to Iranami, she tried to kill Haru by herself. She said she shot in self-defense. It's not enough to leave more clues in the culprit. Why would they help the killer with their own death? Uh-oh. Okay. However, it's impossible for Satsuki to block the door to the arsenal. Tsurugi, you know that, right? At that point, it was only Haruhiko in the arsenal who could have done this. The unnatural bloodstains support this fact. I should have gone over the evidence again. I forgot what Kinjo's testimony was. Those are just blood spots. It's possible the killer moved the body. First, Haruhiko was shot in the chest, okay? Without seeing anything. Oh, instant death. Instant death. Oh, oh, that shift. Oh, shoot. In that state, they blocked the door? No. What a stupid joke, Maeda. No! That was Kinjo's testimony about the fact that it wouldn't have been an instant death, so I'm using his own testimony against him. Kinjo, why in the world are you doing this? All possible reasoning is already finished. Is it so unreasonable that the victim Haruhiko blocked the door of the arsenal? No matter how much I think about it again and again, there's no one else other than Haruhiko that could commit it, as long as Kurokawa's testimony stands firm. If Kinjo were his usual self, there would have been no rebuttal. Kinjo right now is weird. In his claim, there must be a sloppy remark. I have to do it. To pinpoint the right culprit, the only way to do this is letting Kinjo know his mistake. I love the idea that I'm using his own testimony against him. That seems to be happening to Kinjo a lot lately. So we just gotta zoom, 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 zoom. I'm so mad I forgot that I have to press shift, not enter. It's annoying that I can't, like, fast forward through this. Now I have to be careful to not accidentally cut the thing that I need to cut. There we go. Wait, what? Wait, what? That wasn't it? What? I love it's like he shut me down, like he couldn't even let me have that because he's so in his own mindset. I don't know if that was like a glitch or if that was supposed to happen. Kinjo, that's wrong. Haruhiko did not die immediately. You can say what you want, Maeda. As I said, Haruhiko had his chest pierced. Since the bullet hit his body with a wound like that, he'd have no choice but to die immediately. Yeah, I like that it's also showing like just how nuts he's getting, that he's like going against his own testimony that he gave himself. No, Haruhiko did not die immediately. His chest was struck, but the bullet penetrated through Haruhiko without getting stuck in his body. Because the amount of shock is relatively less than the one that gets stuck, it would have been possible for him to move. He's like, oh yeah? What idiot told you that? It's like you did. Speculations. Anyone can make that claim. Stop it now, Kinjo. This is not speculation. It was you, Tsurugi Kinjo, who told me this. God. Incompetent. Is that true? If it's about the bullet pierced, of course, I'm well aware of it, but was it the cop who told you about this? Yes, during the investigation. I thought he died because he was shot in the chest at first, but Kinjo told me. I heard his death might not have been immediate, but he could have had trouble breathing, so he was able to move for a little more. That's, at the time, I just said it as a guess. Kinjo-kun, why are you arguing so much? In this case, it's like you're the culprit. We named Satsuki-chan as the culprit, and Kobushikawa-kun did the back work, but why are you still arguing so much? Shut up, criminal. Haruhiko was murdered. He was also labeled as the victim that I had to protect. A victim who deserved protection was actually on the killer's side? Something like that, it can't be. Kinjo. Yeah, I can't listen to this far-fetched logic. According to your logic, Kazuna Tomori was also a victim, but in reality, she was actually a terrifying bitch who was planning a crime. Are you saying that you would tolerate Tomori's murder plan? That's wrong. In that case, it was due to the accident, not the victim. I love this. That's right, take him down several pegs. Also, refuting such a subject to the incompetent, which it was Haruhiko Kobushikawa tried to kill Satsuki Iriname. It makes no sense to help him in a situation where it leaves more evidence to the culprit. But look here, the victim you had to protect was the reverse toward after trying to kill someone. I don't want to believe Haru was trying to kill Satsuki. I'm hoping it's my thing, where it's like he was trying to protect everybody, and he trusted Satsuki to do what she had to do. But would he want her to become the Blackens? I don't know. I guess if he could try and cover up the murder so that Satsuki could get away. No. I am, what the hell am I for? For so many days. For... Kinjo? Kinjo? Kinjo-kun is down. Kinjo, wake up. Kinjo. Hey, hold it right there. We're still on trial. I don't admit going out of the courtroom at your own will. But Kinjo is... Oh, this is a headache. Fainting and getting upset during a trial. It's taboo to get out from the courtroom during the trial. But I guess it can't be helped. Kinjo-kun, I'll take him to the dormitory. You guys don't have to move. Stay in your seats. So we just vote without him, I guess? Everyone's been waiting for a while, right? Kinjo-kun arrived safely to his dorm bed, so don't worry about it. Let's continue the trial. But this doesn't make things fun. Now Kinjo-kun is outside the courtroom. The fact that he was sent out means he wasn't the culprit. Now the number of people has decreased by 1. Dun dun dun. Well, there was nobody was thinking Kinjo did it. Kinjo, I'm sure he'll be okay. It's the first time Kinjo looked like that. As Monokuma said, we're still on trial. Forget about him for now. He's not dead, is he? Alright. So where did we leave off? The culprit is Satsuki. She couldn't block the door to the arsenal. Only Haruhiko. Is it okay to make this decision then? Does anyone have a different opinion? A different opinion? I think that's the only thing we have. There is no disagreement, of course. It's logical. As Kinjo Tsurugi said, I also don't understand why Haruhiko Kobushikawa in the victim's position helped the killer. Well, I don't know either. After all, it's like we won't get a different decision now, right? Oh, so she doesn't know why he did it. So... Huh, okay, then. If you name me as the culprit, there will be no complaints, and no one will be dissatisfied. Wait, not yet. Of course. What else? You said that there was no reason to disagree. Why did Haruhiko Kobushikawa help the killer? And why this killer is so excited? Heek! The same goes for me. Satsuki, the reasoning about this case is over. Perhaps only looking at the reasoning result. I can't argue that you're the culprit. However, why? Why call yourself the killer? Are you trying to die? Well, why do you ask? Well, like I said earlier, it became a nuisance, so that's a good reason, right? What are you hiding? I'm not good at lying, but I do think I do better than Satsuki-chan. Don't mess around. You'll be executed if you let this go. But if you die, the truth of this case will remain a matter that will be solved. I'm a woman who doesn't give up until I know 100% the problem that I've challenged. Please tell us. Oh, this is probably going to be like the very last thing where she's not going to tell. She doesn't want to tell us. Please tell us, Satsuki. If you really are the culprit, you have a duty to take responsibility for your actions. Tell me, when I thought I was the culprit, all I could do was get blamed. What are you trying to hide? Let us hear it, Satsuki. I don't know. I'm just the culprit. That's all I am. Whoa, she started shouting. I don't know. Baka, 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 baka. Satsuki. As long as she stays like this, we'll have to force you to open your mouth. About the secret of this incident in which Haru was involved, and the reason for your actions in claiming that you were the real culprit all along. Yep, there we go. Terminate, talk, shoot. Time to quiet down the clown. don't know anything. Baka, baka, baka. So she's saying that she wants to be executed quickly. Oh. Oh my gosh, wow. Sometimes the reloading doesn't want to work, which is kind of annoying. Okay, what is it? What is it? Alright. Oh, I didn't... Wow, that's my first time ever failing that. Wow, holy cow. Okay. Well, at least it wasn't immediate game over, so let's try that again. It was weird, though. It felt like the bullets didn't want to reload as all the time. Like, it's really not wanting to work. And I'm not just saying that, like, I really have to press down? Oh. Why isn't it working? Oh. Come on. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose right at the end. This is ridiculous. I thought I got like something specific to like help me make the terminate talk easier. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so mad. Like, I'm gonna lose all my mono coins. If I lose right at the end, I have to start over. Oh, why? Why does the reload not want to work as well? It's like harder. I'm sorry if I sound whiny about this. It's just frustrating that I'm like, I'm having issues with this. Oh, well, that's a great start. Ah. Restart, come on, reload. Oh, right at the end. Now I just have to not fuck this up. The reason, Haru, the open... Oh no! Other pistol, broken hands. The other pistol that broke Haru's hand. The other that broke Haru's hand. Why? Oh. I just like completely... I completely lost it at the end there. Oh my god. I usually don't have any problems with that thing right at the end, but I was like... I was so on edge right at the end that I just like... Woo! That was way too close. That was way too close. The reasoning isn't over yet, Satsuki. Oh, I was shaking. I was like, I do not want to have to do that over again. Is it already over? No, it's not. There's one more thing we've overlooked and crossed. Does anyone know? Eh? Was there anything like that? As Satsuki-chan said, wasn't the reasoning over? So the other pistol that broke Haru's hand. It's about the pistol that destroyed Haruhiko's Kobishikawa's right hand. That's right, because we decided it was Taruya's doing earlier. We went over it. Actually, if you think a little bit, it wasn't Taruya that destroyed Haruhiko's hand. Oh. What are you saying? That makes no sense, Maeda. I replaced the bullet, and Haruhiko grabbed it as intended. His right hand was destroyed. Oh, because he thought it was, like, the other gun? The one that he was yelling about? Stupid fool. If what you said is true, the gun he touched should have been shattered as well. Why would it remain intact? Oh right, come to think of it, even when Tori-kun was rushed as the culprit, he said he didn't know why it ended up like that. That's right, I was freaking out for excuses. When I think about it again, if Haru used the gun as I intended, the gun should have blown up. Taruya, are you sure you didn't touch the two guns? Right, I can assure you this, trust me. I only touched one gun unconditionally. Wait a minute, then won't it get even more weird? Unless Taruya-kun did it, why did Kobushikawa get caught in the same trap Atori-kun did and injured his right hand? That can't be deduced by us alone, except for one person, Satsuki. I don't know. No, you must know. You most likely know why. Satsuki, don't you remember? At the beginning of the class trial, you said Haruhiko tried to shoot you, and you grabbed a gun, and you shot him in self-defense and ended up killing him. From here on out, it's just my thoughts. If Satsuki's words were true, wouldn't it have been that Haruhiko knew that the gun would explode? Oh, he knew it was going to explode? What? Oh. Deliberately breaking his hand? Was he trying to commit suicide? Maybe so. Huh. Ugh. Let me tell you that this is just unfounded imagination. Just listen for now. I don't know how someone changed the bullets in the same manner that Taruya did, but it probably was Haruhiko himself who did it. Since the second half of the trial, the word suicide continued to rattle, because this case was just too weird to see it as an ordinary murder situation. But in the end, Haruhiko did not commit suicide, because Monokuma doesn't deal with suicides. Even if he wanted to commit— oh, did he? Oh my gosh, did he purposely, like, jam the gun, and then he put himself in a situation where, like, he and Satsuki, like, he had the gun, and he made it like he was gonna shoot Satsuki, and he forced her to kill in self-defense, but then he jammed his gun so he intentionally would not be able to shoot Satsuki? So it's— okay, maybe? He wouldn't have done it because it just ends as a wasted death. Because he did get a shot in the chest. So perhaps he thought about it like this. Was Haruhiko trying to save Satsuki? Tried to save her? Deliberately aiming at Satsuki, the gun that explodes when shooting— oh, surprise, Satsuki shoots in response. That's exactly it. Even if she shot the floor, she didn't get hurt, and only his hands fly away. And because Satsuki hit him, his death wasn't treated as a suicide. Later, when Satsuki leaves in surprise, he remains alone in the arsenal. What a Chad, what a sweetheart. Aww. When Satsuki leaves in— I mean, he wanted to put all of us in danger and kill all of us so Satsuki could live, but still. He remains alone in the arsenal. He himself does the extra effort to make the case even more complicated, like, for example, blocking the door to the arsenal and messing with the guns. Well, of course there's no evidence of this. It's just my imagination. The fact that Haruhiko blocked the door seemed to be trying to help the killer, so I thought about it as a basis. Haruhiko, in order to save Satsuki, means he gave up his life. Oh, Satsuki. Hold on, that's plausible, but you always finish with a line of your imagination. There's a 0% chance that the incompetence words are true. Why? I was listening to my Maeda-kun, and I was rather thinking that was the truth. Akane and Mira like, that sounds good to me. Yep. Think first. He gave up his life and tried to save someone else. Humans aren't that simple. They'd be afraid to do it. Well, maybe you. Even in an ordinary circumstance, but it'd be even more unreasonable in an extreme situation when there's no food and living like us. Maybe it was him also being like, I don't want to live like this anymore, so, like, I'll sacrifice myself. But not long ago, Hatano, for Taira, she threw away her life. Akane's like, thanks for bringing that up, Ayame-chan. That's not the case now. At the time, even the most extreme situation wasn't there, and she didn't save Akane Taira with 100% pure intentions. Did you forget? Ayame Hatano clearly had a desire to save Akane, but she also wanted to escape. She committed murder with such a sloppy heart, although she eventually revealed her true face to us. However, in the case of Haruhiko Kobushikawa, like Ayame Hatano, there is not a single reason for themselves. According to the incompetent, he gave up his life 100% purely to save Satsuki. No matter how close Haruhiko was with Satsuki, it'd be absurd to say that they were family members. Or they could have been something more. I love how she just can't— she's like Kinjo, she can't imagine that someone would do that for somebody, because she wouldn't. They wouldn't give their lives up in these extreme circumstances. Of course, if that's true, then it deserves my respect. Well, at least she's willing to say that. I know, what I said was an unfounded idea. You didn't really have to refute it like that. Of course, I'm not saying it's absolutely impossible like that crazy cop. I don't think so. But it is absurd. If he'd only been thinking of Satsuki or Inami like that, he would have done something earlier, but I don't have a clue. But if Maeda-kun's words are wrong, how would you describe the reason for Kobushikawa's right hand? I'll have to think about that more. My gosh, this is a long one. I did say I wanted a longer trial, and I'm getting my wish here. As expected, it's not going to work out the way I thought. It seems like it's too absurd, as Makaro said, and it's very difficult for someone to make a decision in order to save her life, to the point of even giving up his life. Anyways, there's no objections that Satsuki's the culprit, is there? Do we really want to go over Haruhiko's right hand? I'd like this wrapped up as soon as possible. I'm getting bored. No, but we have to know the truth of this case. It's true. What? Yuki, are you a psychic? It's exactly like you've read someone's mind. What are you talking about? I don't feel like an adult to keep trying to hide it and to be a nuisance to all of you. I don't think the trial will ever be over at this rate. And as Yuki said, as long as you commit a murder, you have to be responsible for it. See, this is a more, they're saying like, okay, this makes more sense. And so I'd be like, I'm the murderer with a big smile on your face. Satsuki. Where should I start? Oh yeah, since Kobazing came to my room earlier in the morning, you know, until this moment played out, I couldn't imagine how everything played out, or moment came. Okay, let's see this. So are we going to be doing like a comic book thing in the end if she's going to go over thing? Who is it? Kobazing? What's wrong? Going around at dawn like this, you'll get hungry. I think I'm going to die hungry, then killed. Satsuki, this is not a joke, so listen. I have something to say to you. Kobazing? Alright, tell me. It'll take a little time. Follow me for a minute. I love that they just trusted each other so much. Kobushikawa, isn't this the arsenal? Why this place? Satsuki, is your body okay? You haven't eaten anything in a few days now. Is it painful? Yeah, I'm hungry enough to die, but except for that, I'm fine. But what's with all this all of a sudden? It's giving me goosebumps. Actually, I have a favor to ask you. What do you want to ask? Kill me. Oh, so she probably refused, so he forced her to. What are you saying? Did you commit a sin for being a perv? I get it. It's delightful that Kobazing's lusting for his girls, but it's not enough to kill you. I said I wasn't playing around. Sorry. No, it was my bad. I'm sorry I shouted. Damn it, how do I explain this? Kobushikawa, are you about to die? I've been thinking about it all this time. When this division was born, it was our fault, right? Even if we had a little more food left, it wouldn't have been so serious. I can't deny it. Besides, until now, Kinjo was guarding the arsenal, so no murder occurred, but eventually Kinjo went crazy. No one is guarding the arsenal right now. If we don't make a decision now, someone will definitely commit a murder. So that's what you want to say. Okay. You mean that the two of us who are the most guilty will take responsibility? Honestly, I didn't want to involve you. It was me who first suggested we eat the food. I wanted to end up dying if I could. But I remembered Monokuma's words. A murder case must happen. Oh, so she's like atoning as well. So he's like, alright, I'm gonna give up my life, and then you be the killer, and then, like, you can atone as well. But he also wanted to protect her. Maybe that was a last-minute decision, where it's like or maybe he didn't want to tell her that he was gonna protect her by sealing up the arsenal. A murder case must happen in order to escape the ballroom, and suicide's not accepted. In the end, you can't solve it alone, so you need someone else's help, but the person who helps you will also be bound to be executed for being the culprit. Yeah, I have no other person to suggest. Only Taruya or you, who committed the same crime. But, you know, me and him are in bad ways right now. She's like, cool, thanks. Of course, I have no intention of recommending this, but the moment you accept it, you'll die, Satsuki. Okay, I'll cooperate. What? I'm saying I'll do what you want. Or what Kobazing wants. So suddenly like that? Will you be okay with it? That you're going to die? And that's why she was so cheery about it. Maybe it's like she already, basically committed herself to this. Well, even if we're in the ballroom, we're gonna die anyways. That's not what I... Rather than staying still like this and watching my friends become murderers or starving them to death, I'd prefer to save everyone and die with Kobazing. Oh, Satsuki, damn it, I'm really sorry because of me. You really are a good girl. However, there's one condition. What condition? I don't want to kill Kobazing, so Kobazing killed me. All that's why he did is he didn't want to kill her. He couldn't do it. What? What are you talking about? It's the same no matter what way we die, but why do you want to die by my hand? If I become the culprit, I'll be executed by Monokuma. I hate that. I'd rather be killed by Kobazing. And the irony being that she's going to be killed by Monokuma. You're going to grab a gun in the arsenal here anyways and kill me, but do you think it hurts a lot when you're shot? It's not a pain or a problem. I don't like being killed by a thing like Monokuma. You don't want to? No, there's no way I could kill you. The same goes for me. How can I kill Kobazing? Lovers quarrel. Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. In a really fucked up way. There'll be no end to this. Instead of fighting, why don't we sit down with this nonsense? That's because Kobazing first looks at me and suggests the impossible thing of killing him. If you can't, why'd you accept? Then don't do it. That's no good. I've already decided. Then kill me already. Oh, again, I can't do it. I really value Kobazing, so killing my friend is... I'm not happy I'm your favorite, okay? Kobazing's face is blushing. Ugh, idiot, I'm talking about an important thing now. Or here, we're going back and forth. I'm not messing around. My stomach hurts because I haven't eaten anything. Are you okay? You know, we don't have much time either. It's a fact that I might die tomorrow. In the meantime, the others may be in pain or planning a murder. Everyone's in trouble. Satsuki, what if we do it like this? Have you ever seen a Western movie? Oh, it is. It's like we're gonna turn around and shoot, but he intentionally sabotaged it so he wouldn't kill her. Western movie? I haven't seen it, but I know what it is. They walk back and forth in a courtyard, then turn around and shoot at the same time after some time passes. Yes, let's decide with that. In the worst case of this, we could kill each other, but still not suicide, so the others will be able to live. It's uncomfortable that I have to shoot Kobazing, but okay, that'd be fair. Let's do it like that. Alright, if it's decided, let's move. Pick one pistol. Kobazing, are you still not done? What's taking you so long to pick a gun? Oh, wait a minute, I'm almost done. Okay, are you ready, Satsuki? I'm not a girl who goes back on their word. Besides, it seems to be more fun to decide this way. Fun, you say? I already said it again and again, but seriously. I mean, we played a lot of games so far, right? Basketball, running, pokers, darts. The result of doing my best without looking at our fights at all, the total was equal. Was it like that? And she won this game. I remember the results of all our previous matches, so probably so far. Kobazing and I have had 14 matches, 6 wins, 6 losses, and 2 draws, in perfect balance. You really have a good memory on useless places. Suddenly I thought this was the last game, so it made me feel strange. I can't believe that I'm risking my life at all. If you want to give up now, you can tell me. I really don't want to force you. No, because I'm serious too. Like Kobashikawa said, I'll stop playing around. Are you ready? Yeah. From here on, go back and take 3 steps. We'll shoot at the same time after that. Okay. So it wasn't even like it was self-defense. Satsuki! Haruhiko! Kobashikawa? Aww. Kobashikawa, Haruhiko, why did you do this? Good, Satsuki. The last game was my victory. That's not what I mean. Why did Kobashikawa's hand explode? Sorry. I saw it. This is unbelievable. Let's do it again. I was worried about what would happen if I died immediately, in case I was hit in a bad spot. Fortunately, it looks like I'm still alive. I'll tell you what I can. Sorry, Satsuki. I lied. Because you killed me, and wanting to save everyone. That's not the truth. What? Who I really want to save was you, Satsuki. Oh my gosh. How appropriate that he's dressed like a prince. Me? And she's dressed like a little princess. It was useless information, so I didn't tell the others because it would just confuse them, but I was searching for a few days, and I found a badge with the head of Monokuma on it, so he found the treasure. Because I found it, Monokuma appeared and said he'd give it as a prize, and congratulated me on finding the treasure. That's the treasure Monokuma said? It was really here? Then, there it showed me a photo of me and you, kissing, doing a selfie. Kobashikawa, even at a time like this, what kind of joke? It's real. I just love that even with their memories being wiped and not knowing each other, they still found each other and were close. It shows our commemorative photo with you as my lover. You shouldn't forget. And then it vanished. Kobashikawa and Sat, we've never done such a thing. It's the same for me too. There are no memories of pictures of me and you, let alone kissing. We met here for the first time a month ago. But why? It doesn't feel odd. Even if that photo was a manipulation, I felt unknown emotions. And I thought that I didn't want to let you die. This is the saddest one yet. Oh my gosh. I have no idea what you're saying, Kobashikawa. Stop it. It's too cheesy. Put up with it. I'm already going to die anyways. I wanted to say this much. That maybe I've liked you after some point. Even if I die like this. There are guys like Kinjo, Makaru, and Maeda, so they'll find out about this in a minute. So you'd better go back to your room. And act as usual. Pretend you don't know anything. Leave the rest to me. Why are you saying that, Kobashikawa? Stop it. Stop talking. No matter how much they think, they won't know that I, the victim, did all these tricks. Part of it was to pretend to shoot you on purpose and give away my right hand. This is a pretty old gun. It can explode when putting the trigger, even if you put normal bullets in the magazine. Kobushikawa, you can't die. No, I'm going to die. And Satsuki, you can live. Leave it to me. I can't make someone as cheerful and happy as you die like this. Kobuzing, I'm sorry for doing this in such a crappy way, and when the trial's over, tell the other guys that you're sorry too. I'm sorry that I fought with Taruya. I'm sorry for sacrificing Kinjo and the others. I'm sorry my feelings don't want Satsuki to sacrifice herself. Ow, ow, ow. Damn, it hurts real bad. Kobuzing, don't move. Don't die. Of course, I'm doing this in order to die. Once you leave, I have to get the job done. You have to go now, before someone sees this. I hate this. This is wrong. I want to save you. Please go. Because this is my last wish. Please listen. I want you to live. And she didn't, but... Leave. I was hoping maybe she's gonna give him a kiss at the end, but... No, it'd be too much to expect. Yeah, just do that. Thank you, Satsuki. Whether it was real or fake. I still loved you. Aww. And then I went back to my room. As Kobushikawa said, I stayed still until morning. I didn't know what trick Kobushikawa was going to do at the time. I wasn't sure until I heard your story in the trial. This is all I know. Like Yuki said, Kobuzing was by me when intentionally trying to save me, in order to confuse you while doing so. I feel like we don't need to put the things together. She kind of did that for us. In other words, he did everything in order to save me. What is this? This is too much. Haruhiko was apologizing to me, and I tried to kill him. I see now. If he saw the letter sent by Taruya, he wouldn't go to the arsenal in reverse. Nevertheless, the reason Kobushikawa went to the arsenal was because Haruhiko didn't even notice Taruya's letter from the very beginning. It was only to sacrifice him, and to save only Satsuki. Hold on. Then why? Why did he do it the same way as Taruya Otori? The gun exploded in his hand the same way, unless he did some kind of trick and did it in advance? That's what I thought too. But when Haruhiko chose a gun, he was doing something in the corner for a long time. He was the kind of guy who was telling me guns weren't fun or usual, so I wondered if he had some kind of knowledge about them. Stupid idiot. He really gave up his life for others? Look at Makara, she's actually shaken. And you just kicked the opportunity that he arranged to let you survive? What were you thinking? Just the fact that she went against it. Like, it wasn't even, like, she knew what he was trying to do, but she still, like, she's like, no, I can't. I'm not going to sacrifice myself. Or I'm not going to sacrifice everybody else for me. Maybe she just wants to die so she can be with Haru. She said it herself, right? I don't understand this at all. I know that Kobushikawa liked me, and he didn't want to do this. After all this, I've been struggling a lot since then, until the class trial was held. I don't think that's the way. It's so unreasonable for all of you to die for just one person, right? I feel sorry for betraying Kobushikawa, but I'll be happier if you guys live. Satsuki, I'm sorry that I saw you as, like, kind of a meh character. You and Haru just catapulted yourself after this chapter. How can that be? Blood-related familiar actions are a law that puts one's life most importantly. You? For people you just met? Maybe this will thaw out Makaru's heart a little bit. Well, I'm not as smart as Makaru, so I don't think I can give a very cool reason for it. I just told myself I was the culprit because it made me convince myself that I did this. But then why? Why didn't you say everything from the very beginning and hide the truth more suspiciously? Because you didn't even say the backstory, you just said that you were the killer, so it's a rat's confusing reasoning. That was because of Kobushikawa. He decided to take a chance between all of you in order to save me. Because of this? Especially if Kinjo finds out, it would have seen from Kobushikawa's view, who'd already died, that I would have insulted him. I didn't want to do anything that would put more disgrace on Kobushikawa anymore, because he already died to try and save my life. That's why I told you at the end. Still, don't think badly of Kobushikawa. He wouldn't have thought of this, and if it wasn't for Kobushikawa, we would have all died. Such a thing. It's not possible. Satsuki-chan, are you really satisfied with this? Even if we live, you'll die. No, I'm fine dying, but why are you all so worried? I'm very fine with my choice. No matter what happens, don't forget to smile. It's one of the teachings of my own brother, and it's my belief too. But after Haruhiko died, you cried, right? That's off topic. Please, just think Satsuki wasn't Satsuki for a minute. Satsuki. Yuki. Thanks to Yuki, I was able to do everything. Rather, I feel relieved. Oh yeah, I was impressed to see Maeda come up with the whole truth about Koishikawa. Yuki is a real teacher in my heart. Well then, Yuki, I think we can finish the trial soon. Give me that thing you always do at the end. Okay, we are doing it. That? Yeah, that. Climax reasoning. Let's go. We'll begin. Would you like to hear the tutorial? Listen and prepare the tears. The tears are ready. It's amazing. All right. So we have putting a letter in the door. I really liked this trial. I think this one might have been my favorite, just the emotions alone. Oh. You know what, for Haru saying that he's like a bit of an idiot, he came up with a pretty good plan. First, the case begins not from the criminal nor the victim, but from Taruya. Taruya couldn't stand the extreme situation and began working on a plan to kill Haruhiko, the victim of the case. Taruya first started to write a note to Haruhiko asking him to come to the arsenal. This was done with a paper and pen that only Taruya had in the ballroom, where there was nothing else other than weapons. Taruya, who'd finished writing the note, then puts the note through the door frame of Haruhiko's room. This was the same way Mitch did in the first murder. Then Taruya, who put the note safely in the room, first entered the arsenal before Haru arrived. This was in order to do some work. That task was to load non-standard bullets into a pistol magazine. When a person shoots the pistol in that state, the gun explodes from the inside and destroys the hand of the person who used it. Taruya used this method to let Haru use the gun and think of making him shoot, and that's the reason he went into the arsenal before anyone else. Skittering away. Having done everything he needed to do, Taruya quickly returned to his room and waited for Haru to come out of the room. Taruya's plan was to enter the arsenal later on with Haru. However, as Taruya returned to his room and stayed on watch of the hallway, he fell asleep due to accumulated fatigue. This was everything Taruya had influence on in this case. I can't believe Taruya made it to the end of the game. Meanwhile, at that time, Haruhiko was probably having a lot of trouble thinking in his room. As we'd heard, Haru was already planning to save someone dear to them at the cost of his own life. Originally, he felt responsible for running out the food, but the discovery of the treasure was triggering to start this life-threatening plan. As the situation grew more and more extreme, Haruhiko felt like he couldn't wait any longer and began acting. He decided to meet with the person who was chosen as the culprit for this case. At the time, whether Haruhiko saw Taruya's note or not is uncertain, but it's very likely he didn't pay attention to it in the first place, because he was immersed in his own thoughts. Haruhiko's plan was also a plan that took place in the arsenal, but if he saw the note calling him to the arsenal, he wouldn't have headed there in the first place. Either by luck or misfortune, if Taruya hadn't fallen asleep, a fairly complicated mess would have unfolded. I mean, I feel like Taruya's thing would probably be a lot more straightforward, to be honest. This is the more complicated thing. After a while, Haruhiko safely met the culprit. Until then, the culprit hadn't even realized the true purpose of this case. Haruhiko asked the culprit to quietly follow them into the arsenal. They went into the arsenal side by side. One may have thought no one would know, but in fact, all the actions that Taruya and these two were doing while walking around the corridor up to this point were being shown to Kurokawa. She wasn't sleeping from the very start, and was keeping watch of the hallway. In actuality, it was Kurokawa that upped most of the weight into solving the mystery of this case. Because Taruya went to sleep, the killer and Haru entered the arsenal without anyone's interference. Only then, Haruhiko, who was alone with the culprit, confessed his feelings for them. I think it went this way. Someone was going to do the murder and asked them to kill themselves before that to save everyone. This is why they asked the culprit to do. Once they accepted, the culprit would also be executed for committing a murder. It was certain death, so Haruhiko didn't want to force them into making such a difficult task. But the culprit did not hesitate to respond to Haru's proposal. However, the culprit refused to kill Haruhiko himself. Conversely, they told Haru to kill them instead. Haruhiko did not want to kill the culprit, as the culprit did not want to kill him, and they kept arguing to each other in vain for a while. Haruhiko, who felt that there would be no end after going like this, was determined to make a fair suggestion to both sides and asked a decision to shoot each other at the same time, just like a game in a Western movie. In the worst case scenario, both could have been shot and died by each other's hands. It didn't violate the two's goals of saving the other, so the culprit agreed with this proposal and began preparing. The culprit and Haruhiko were choosing a gun for each other, and we heard that Haruhiko was in the corner of the room. This was probably to manipulate the magazine with the bullets at this phase. We all know the consequences of this. Indeed, Haruhiko did the same thing Taruya did earlier. It was to load it with non-standard bullets. How Haruhiko did the same thing as Taruya, I'm not exactly sure whether it was coincidence or not. Maybe it was because Haruhiko had a lot of interest in firearms from the beginning, so I think he accidentally came up with that method by pure chance. Either way, there's only one reason Haruhiko did this. He didn't want to shoot the culprit. The two of them, ready to go, stood a few steps away and pointed their guns at each other after turning around. But even though the culprit sincerely tried to shoot Haruhiko, he was going to lose to them from the very beginning. I think they meant she. Unless we don't know something about Satsuki. And so, as Haruhiko intended, his hand was destroyed and he was shot by the culprit at the same time. The culprit, who couldn't understand the situation, ran to Haruhiko. Then Haru told them the truth. It wasn't us that Haru really wanted to save, it was the culprit themselves. Although Haruhiko was dying, he was hoping the culprit would survive, and said he'd do the rest to save them, since he still was breathing, to do one last act. The culprit was unconvinced, but soon they decided to accept Haruhiko's last request, and left Haru to do the job once they got out of the arsenal. Of course, the trail of this was also being monitored by Kurokawa. After confirming the culprit was safely gone, Haruhiko began the final cleanup while keeping his short life as much as he could. First, Haruhiko picked up the flash and smoke grenades from the arsenal. And likewise, he put a wooden blank inside the arsenal door between the handles, and then put the flash and smoke grenades on top of it. This could only be done by the people inside, and thanks to that, there was a lot of difficulty when we tried to reason it out. The plank served to make the door to the be forced open while being crushed, causing the grenades on top to naturally fall on the floor and activate. Subsequently, Haruhiko started messing around in the arsenal to make it look like the culprit did it, although it didn't connect to anything. Oh, so these scattered guns, which weren't brought up at all, that explains it. As a result of repeating a series of processes blocking the door and cluttering the interior, Haruhiko's bloodstains were all over the place, inside the arsenal creating an unnatural bloodstain like a path of blood. Haru, who finished everything just before his life ended, reached to his feelings of satisfaction because he was able to save someone they cherished. But in the end, later in the trial, the culprit confessed by their own will. However, we weren't able to know that it was Haruhiko who planned all of this. All of this happened at dawn, and later in the morning, Taruya and I broke into the arsenal and Haruhiko's body was found. In fact, in this case, the person who would be called the culprit was close to Haruhiko, and the culprit who just lost his life was the victim himself, who actually finished the trick. But in the end, Haruhiko wanted to save the culprit, even at the cost of his life. The culprit of this incident, the identity of the killer who Haruhiko cherished and wanted them to live so much. Satsuki Iranami, it was you. Perfect. Indeed, Maeda has a good reasoning, but maybe you have a talent for organizing cases too. I'm not happy at all. Satsuki Iranami. Satsuki-chan. Why is the mood so sad? I didn't go out to see you like this. Satsuki, you've always been like that. You're a strong girl. Much stronger than me. Is that a compliment? I don't know if it's strength or not, but even at times like these, it's my goal to be happy, even the worst atmosphere. Well then, Maida's reasoning is over now. Shall we get to the voting time? Satsuki, can you really do that? To just die and not be scared? I don't want to die, of course. I don't want to die. Of course I'm scared, but it's already gone. Water. What else can I do but accept it? At least not all of you will die, because you can all live by sacrificing only one. I'm satisfied with that. Man, if Kinjo had been there for all that, he would have had a goddamn aneurysm. Oh, alright. I just made it through. I was like right at the end with that damn talk shooting thing. I almost failed. Whew. Hey, Miss Uranami, why do you keep trying to go ahead of the trial here? I'm the host. Oh well, doesn't matter. It seems like you guys reached a conclusion. And that's all you. That's all. Now you guys, vote with the switch in front of your hands. Who will be chosen as the blackened? And your answer, will it be the correct one or the wrong one? Now then, what's it gonna be? The voting ended unanimously. The culprit of this case of the blackened is... The identity of the blackened who killed Kobushikawa-kun was Miss Satsuki Uranami. You guys were right. Congratulations. Actually, what is with this case? A murder case that's not a murder? If I knew it'd be like this, I would have made the rules more thoroughly. What, you can't pre-plan to kill somebody? Hey, isn't it already too late? I don't think we're gonna get another one of these. This was a special circumstance. Hey, everyone. You guys are doing it badly. I, as the person in charge of this party, can't you please be a little brighter? There's no way I can be happy. Satsuki-chan's going to die now. Because it's painful. Satsuki worked so hard for us, throwing her own life away. We couldn't do anything, even after reaching this point. You're wrong. It's not that you can't do anything. Satsuki? Yuki, didn't I tell you before? Hope is not to be found, but to be created. You know why I decided to save you all by sacrificing myself? Because that was my own way of creating hope. What do you mean? If I survived by myself, it would have been meaningless to live in a world where there's no fun and no kobazing around. Well, also knowing how the world is going to be, she probably had the right idea. And more than anything, my power's defeat that guy is not enough. Oh? I'm smiling right now, but I'm more angry than anyone inside. I hate the mastermind. Don't you guys? We're being treated like this because of that big dummy. If it weren't for him, Kobushikawa wouldn't have died. Maki died, Higa died, Tomori died, Hatano died. Yamaguchi. God, Yamaguchi. I am so sorry, Yamaguchi. You're such a good character. I feel terrible that I can never remember his name. Yamaguchi wouldn't have died. Inori wouldn't have died. Or Uhara either. We know that, even if we don't say it. If it weren't for Monokuma's influence, we would have entered Hope's Peak safely and have a pleasant school life. You already did. You just forgot about it. That's right. Although more than half of our friends have already died. I want to defeat Monokuma no matter what happens. I want to punish it. I want to smash it. So they're not commenting on the whole thing about, like, having a picture of the two of them that shouldn't exist? Hey, why are you saying all that stuff in front of someone else's face? So, I'll bet my own hope on all of you. On us? I never wanted much. I'll be leaving this world soon. I just have one thing. No, wait. Please promise me 2 things. 1, be sure to survive, for Kobazing and me. 2, that Monokuma guy. Please give it a good beating. To that mastermind. Full paid revenge. Satsuki-chan. This is bad, really bad. You dare agitate the students in front of me? The headmaster of this school? Even insult me in my presence? Oh, what are you gonna do, kill her? Annoying? Anyways, Miss Uranami was chosen as the blackened, so she's to be punished in the end. You won't make fun of me anymore when I'm done with you. In that regard, I prepared a very special punishment for the ultimate clown. Ooh, what is her punishment gonna be? There's so many things you can do with a clown. Satsuki Uranami, for your crime. Give it your best shot. I'm not afraid of anything like you. My friends will definitely kick your sorry butt. Wait, Satsuki, you don't need to be executed. I'd rather die. It's my fault, too. I'm a sinner too. It was me who tried to commit a murder. I'm supposed to die. Monokuma, execute me. Satsuki's done nothing wrong. Now then, let's go. A very heart-pounding punish. Monokuma, hold on a minute. She's like, actually, kill Taruya. Time? What? Jeez, you're tipsy. Way to ruin my mood. Let me say to my friends a few last words. Taruya, didn't someone tell you? No one is bad. Monokuma's the bad thing here. Everything is because of that thing. If Taruya keeps feeling guilty, then try harder to catch the mastermind. You don't need to be sorry at all, but if you die and make atonement, then that's the end. Satsuki. And for you, Taira? Taira's strong. You have a very strong heart to overcome Ayami's death. Please keep supporting everyone like you always do. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Satsuki-chan. Thank you. Next is Makaru. It's the first time I've seen Makaru act so surprised. I don't know what made her so surprised, but as long as Kinjo is in that shape, everyone needs a genius like Makaru. I know this is kind of an unreasonable request, but please try to cooperate with everyone, and find the mastermind who brought this terrible misfortune on all of its victims. Korikawa. Stop, shut up. Who said I was waiting for your long speech? Don't say anything disgusting with that smell of hope. Punishment time begins. That's too much. When the villain is found out, you're supposed to wait for them. Let's go hard. Punishment time. Korikawa and Maeda, I didn't get to say anything to you guys, but I'll leave the rest to you guys. Oh, one more thing. I almost forgot. Kobazing, I love you. Aww. At least she can be with him soon. Is she maybe going to be crushed by, like, an elephant or something? Shot out of a cannon? Okay. That's kind of creepy. Just, like, she's just at peace. She's happy. Right? It's a performance. She's got to be happy even throughout all of it. Oh, keep smiling. Just keep smiling. Satsuki crisis. Okay, I didn't see that. I thought maybe she's gonna be shot out of the cannon, crushed by, like, elephant, eaten by a lion. I have to say, for a clown, that's a little bit of a, I don't know, not a very flashy death. Oh, why is she... Oh, okay. She was hung as well, huh? I mean, the last one was literally someone like strapped to a rocket. And I was like, that's a little, I'll give that a 4 out of 10. Woohoo, they ended up like that, trying to play a hopeless game. Adios, funny red nose lady. Satsuki-chan, no. Damn it, damn it. What do you think? Sad, right? Desperate, isn't it? What a lame hope. You guys won't be able to do a thing before you punish me. So we're gonna carry on her hope. We were all at our lowest moment, but this is the thing where we're like, no, we're gonna fight against you. We're gonna figure this out. For Satsuki and everybody. No, it isn't. Yep, get that hope back. What was that, Maeda? Who says I'm desperate? I'm not like that at all, right? Maeda-kun? Of course, I'm really sad that Satsuki died, but we have fully inherited Satsuki's will. You won't stop us anymore. After I came to Hope Speak Academy, I am more full of fighting spirit than ever. Monokuma. Did you suddenly take your medicine? There's nothing scary about burning raw spirit. Alone, though. He's not alone. Makaru. From this moment, I will retract my previous solo actions. I'll cooperate to put Monokuma into the trash. Oh my god, Makaru-chan. What kind of change is this? Makaru's like, keep your mouth shut or I might change my mind. Don't be mistaken. I'm not trying to play friends here. I now owe a debt. Because of that, I have to pay it off. Why is Miss Makaru suddenly doing this? Again? Oh, again. Miss Makaru just needs to do as well as before. Poking around and having fun? Why should you care about Miss Iranami? Shut the hell up. Iranami Satsuki is a human being that deserves respect. I've seen this for the first time, ever since I was born in this world. To be able to give up one's life so purely for others. That is what I call true hope. It was a life that guy tried to save anyways. I'm fed up with murder games that are not fun. Murder games are getting boring. Doesn't that seem like the perfect time to beat you down, Monokuma? No, rather, the mastermind controlling you from the shadows. Huh? No matter what you try, you can't do anything. It's already beyond your own grasp. No, it was you who kept us in the ballroom. We made up our minds right before they died. You will run out of ideas. We already know a lot more about you than you can imagine. Now, it is you who is cornered. Well, I don't know, but everyone's working hard, so I will too. I'll do my share for Haruhiko's sake. Me too. We'll definitely get you, Monokuma. I'll avenge my friends who have died so far. What's with these guys? Rather than despairing, they're burning with fight alone. You guys are bluffing. You can't do a thing anyways. You will find out soon that you're only left with despair. And so the 4th class trial ended. We lost 2 of our friends, Haruhiko and Satsuki, who couldn't be exchanged for anything. The will the 2 gave us was definitely engraved in our very souls. We're not afraid, step by step from now on. Will be a big leap towards true hope. Hey, Kinjo, we have to update you on all the stuff that you missed. Kinjo, can you hear us? Answer me if you're awake. The problem is he wasn't there for that whole rousing speech from Satsuki, so I feel like we're gonna have to be fighting him. Like, even Makaru is on our side. Immediately after leaving the courtroom, Makaru, who finally offered to cooperate with us, disappeared before we could call her. Everyone except for Makaru went to check on Kinjo's condition. However, Kinjo was silent. We had no choice but to go back to each of our rooms with a little cluttered feeling. I'm just so happy we're out of that ballroom. What? Who is it? Is it morning? It's not even 7 a.m. Hey, come out already, Maeda. Wait a minute. Why did you take so long to answer? Was it because you were feeding information to the mastermind? Makaru? What? That's a moody expression you have. No, it was just you coming to my room. I wonder if the sky is going to divide in 2 now. It can't be helped. As I mentioned yesterday, I decided to cooperate with you in order to defeat the mastermind. I know that, but why did you suddenly change your mind? I told you, I'm going to follow Iranami's idea. Hatano is a great person, but Iranami is more than that. Just because she's a human who can... As if, Maeda, don't make me say useless things. You're always drowning in every story, aren't you? Sorry. Also, now you're calling me by my name. So, are you dissatisfied? Do you want to be called incompetent for the rest of your life? No, of course not. It's better to be called by your own name. It was a bit embarrassing to be nicknamed incompetent, though it was accurate. I haven't admitted it yet. I don't want to be friends, but I want to have the least courtesy, as long as I've decided to cooperate. Makaru tends to be weird like this. Usually, she looks down on us and ignores us, but she doesn't do it recklessly. She admits something that can be admitted whenever necessary. Unlike Kinjo, stop talking about nonsense. Come to my room right now. What? Your room? What are we doing today? Suddenly asking for that. I don't care if you have feelings for me, so shut up and follow me. I'm getting tired already. Oh, Ray-chan, did you bring Maeda-kun? Oh, cool. It's like a classroom. Hers seems so much bigger than ours. Taira, Atori, and Kurokawa, too. It makes me want to know what everybody else's room looks like. Hey, don't do that shit show. How many times must I repeat that you are not my friends? Everyone, what happened? It looks like Makaru came out of her room at dawn and called us one by one. Taruya, those goggles. Oh, this one? It was Haru's. It was left in the dressing room. I brought it. This is an atonement for myself, and also my own commitment to continue Haru's will. We need to move forward. That's right. The efforts Kobishikawa-kun and Satsuki-chan. We should never forget. The will of our friends who've died so far. We can't be sad anymore. Now is the time for us to fight back. Bit by bit, very little, but something is starting to change, and starts to move. Our hope is to not find it, but to create it. Only those words stuck in my mind. So, why did you call us? This is an operational meeting. As long as I have decided to cooperate, everyone here will beat up Monokuma, and together we shall escape. Ray-chan, being an ally makes you feel so reliable now. Everyone here... Wait, then what do we do about Kinjo? When I look at that guy, he's a statue. He doesn't respond to anything, and I don't even know if they'll wake up, but even if he does wake up, I'm not certain he'll ever recover. Then... Of course, if we have him, you should be comfortable, but throw away your lingering regrets. We have no choice but to strike out. Because I feel the fighting spirit from you, I choose to cooperate. Makaru, staying away from us till now, have you found out something? A lot of pile of things. Those of you who've not found anything are more curious. First off, Wait a minute, there could be a surveillance camera here too. Are you okay with that? Are you an idiot? Of course I know. That's why I called you into my room. My room is the only one that can jam surveillance cameras. What? To put it bluntly, it's instant jamming. Instant jamming? Oh, Tori-kun, do you know what she's saying? Not at all. In short, my room is safe. The words here will not be leaked to the mastermind, and our appearance is not visible. Why? Why just her room? Really? Amazing. How did you do it? Power room, audiovisual room, and I assembled some useful parts from the warehouse. That's how I made it. It's only a temporary measure, so even if it's not perfect, it'll be safe. Makaru, you just didn't spend time alone. Of course not. You better thank me for inviting you. So, the first goal is to find out the identity of the mastermind. Of course, that's the most important thing, but before that, let's look at the preconditions. Preconditions? Why did we get involved in this division? I mean, that's the biggest mystery. Why did Hope Speak Academy become this way? Why doesn't anyone come to save us? But that's the first thing we said with the others, right? At that time, there were both Kinjo and Makaru, but no conclusion was made. No, unlike then, there's one fact I do know. At first, I thought it was a hypothesis, because it was nonsense, but I was convinced after yesterday. It's the note, right? Or the picture, where she's like, we've been here before. Time has passed. Makaru, you don't mean... Yes, it's a fact. A considerable amount of time has already passed since we've entered this school, and the truth is, we don't remember it. She's gonna have the headache again? Mikako-chan. Also, I knew you'd react when we talked about this, Mikako Kurokawa. Oh, what? What's this all of a sudden? I'm obviously deeply grateful to Satsuki, and thanks to her, I was told to cooperate in order to punish the mastermind. But before, there's a traitor we must catch. Mikako Kurokawa, you know something. Honestly, I'm dubious about your true nature. Tell me everything you know. If you can't, then I will consider you on the mastermind's side. No way, is this true? This is nonsense, right? Ugh, no. Trust me, If you're innocent, tell me the facts that you know. You do know that there's not only one or two suspicious actions you've done so far, right? Why do you shut your mouth? Are there any circumstances that you can't tell us? Makaru, don't do that. Kurokawa has to calm down before... Hello everyone, it's morning, 7 a.m. It's wake-up time. Let's have a lively one today, too. Morning announcement. It's already 7 a.m.? That's not the problem right now. Oh right, almost forgot. I don't know if anyone had a good night, but I want everyone to please go to the gym. I have some great news to inform you. See you soon. What? I'll leave this story for later, but just so you know, I won't move on it this time, Mikako Kurokawa. What's the great news? It's only been a day since the trial is over, and suddenly... Well, we'll just have to go. We have no choice. What about Kinjo? Makaru and Kurokawa, the air that seemed to flow smoothly got tense in an instant. In this tense mood, Monokuma shows up to add even more anxiety. We all go to the gym, as Monokuma said, without concealing the unpleasantness. There was a reality waiting for us that we could not imagine. Damn, this just keeps going. Okay, well, this is going to be an extra long episode. The first thing we knew as soon as we entered the gym was that Kinjo didn't come. If Monokuma didn't say anything, it means he still fainted, but the fact is so casually forgotten, because a more shocking scene unfolded in the gym. Huh? Who? A guy? Oh, the dude! The dude that was probably hiding, that was like in that jail cell in the basement. They're saying a guy is here, right? Let's see. There he is! That guy! That looks like Kinjo. I bet he's related to Kinjo in some way. Everyone is here. The class trial ended yesterday, but I'm sorry for calling again so suddenly. But no matter what, there were things I had to tell you. He's probably not related to Kinjo. It's probably just a coincidence. He looks just like him. It's a bit early, but I will announce the motive. A surprise motive event introducing the transfer student. This time, I transfer to Hope Speak Academy, the ultimate inventor, Yamato Kisaragi-kun. Please greet him with applause. Kisaragi? Nonsense. Yamatoni. Huh? Okay. A suspicious figure who suddenly appeared as the transfer student. With his appearance, the situation began to unfold like a roller coaster. All right, there we go. Woo, that was a long one. That was a very good one. That was my favorite one so far. Really liked that class trial. Other than the frustration I had with the game right at the end, I will definitely have to get some more stuff to help me out with the final talk, the trigger thing. Alright guys, well that will do it for this extra long episode. I hope you enjoyed the full class trial. Quite emotional, and I like Satsuki and Haru even more now because of that, and now we've got the introduction. Like, look at the two of them. Like, look at Kinjo. Both of them even kind of wear, like, the hats, and it's just, I don't know. I don't know if there's a connection there, but now we've got, like, a transfer student right at the end. And I'm assuming this is going to be the last chapter, because usually there's 5 chapters in Danganronpa, right? So I guess we're going to be coming to the end of this pretty soon. So I'm very excited to see what the story has for us next, especially with the introduction of the new transfer student. So thank you guys so much for watching and sticking through for this extra long episode. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned next week for part 16. Until then, bye. Special shoutouts to my top tier patrons: Emily Hornsby, Lady of Eternity, Revealing Storm, Asborn Kennedy, Jared Fan, Harry Gazif, Icognito, and Zoran Ether.